one, and that's a fact because of the two-party system that we live in. Now, if we had like ranked choice voting in all 50 states, it would have been a completely different story, but guess what? We don't, right? And from my perspective, I'm obviously going to vote for the candidate that is better in contrast to Trump as it would relate to policy geared towards Israel and Palestine. You know, I could absolutely tell you with certainty that although Kamala Harris was pro-Israel, Donald Trump is significantly more pro-Israel than her, and that's a fact. And I also can tell you with confidence that Kamala Harris, unlike Trump, would not have done a press conference with Netanyahu offering the total worth of the American military industrial machine to personally go into Gaza and help ethnically cleanse the remaining Palestinians, while then also threatening sanctions on countries such as Egypt and Jordan if they were not to accept the forced refugees into their country, and then offering to level the totality of the Gaza Strip to build a Riviera for Netanyahu.
Oh, we are.
Right. And that's, once again, like just the issue of Israel and Palestine, which is a really big one. But then even when we like contrast it further by discussing domestic policy, talking about how Kamala Harris wanted to codify federal protections for every woman and girl's right to choose access to abortion, and how because Donald Trump opted to get SCOTUS to overturn Roe v. Wade and wants it to be legislated on at the state level, that there's 66 million American women and girls who don't have access to abortion in America today. And I think every single one of those lacks of access is
goes on for so long.
Violation.
You're like rambling about neoliberalism. This is crazy. Like this is like not. This is fascist. Like I'm sorry. Like what you're saying is just like supporting.
Wait, it's fascist to think that denying women and girls access to abortion is a human rights violation?
I'm not talking about that, girl. Shut up.
That's what
I'm
I
not
just
talking
said.
about that. I'm talking about genocide. I don't care. You're pivoting the point. I'm talking about AIPAC money and that you're supporting that. You don't care. You don't care if either candidate is taking AIPAC money. You're like, well, she's taking less, so she must be better. Like that's a delusional statement. And you know that's a delusional statement. And there's a reason you word, how do you still support Donald Trump? Not why didn't you vote for Kamala Harris? That's avoiding leftists. You're afraid of leftists. You've refused to debate them. I've seen you kick them off multiple times.
Am I not debating one right now?
Yes, of course. Hi. Nice to meet you.
So that point was self-refuted.
Yeah, because I had to like fight to get you in to do it. I remember when the election was happening, and all this, you know, before like the general, I got in here. I told you I was voting for either Jill Stein or Claudia de la Cruz.
I thought,
and you kicked me off.
I thought that it's worth noting
you said, I'm not
that you're
supporting
saying that
You know
I'm
what
scared of
Mexico
debating leftists. I just also want to let you know that you don't represent all leftists, right?
I don't.
And I feel like it's
Mexico
a very
got 51 hospitals from voting third party. Did you know that? They broke their two-party system.
I feel like it's very
Mexico broke their two-party system.
I feel like it's very important to point that out because there's like plenty of leftists who are watching this stream right now that agree with me and disagree with you.
That you won't let on because of your wording on do you still support Trump?
Because we're
correct.
Because we're here to debate people that support the current president. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, you want us to debate people that are less smart than you. Period. That's what you want to do. You're afraid of leftists because that's why you word it the way you word it. You don't word it to invite other people that oppose you. You just be like, who's opposing me? It should be more of an opposed issue. How do you still support Donald Trump? Yeah, you're inviting in like the lowest of the low. You're not bringing in people that are actually going to challenge you. You're afraid of leftists, Dean. Like, let's be real.
Okay,
you know it, and
the lowest of the low. So I think
Donald
that
Trump supporters are the lowest of the low.
I think that this rhetoric is harmful, right? Because in arguing that like we should just dismiss Trump supporters, in arguing that
I didn't say that. I said you're only inviting.
Would you allow me to finish speaking?
No, because you're misintruding. That you already mistook my words.
Okay.
So no, I'm not going to let you finish speaking.
If you won't let me say 4 words, then obviously this won't be a productive dialogue.
Oh, I'm not going to let you say 4 words, please. You've been muting me this whole time. I've been letting you like ramble.
I think I've been letting you ramble.
Yeah. Okay. Can we check the?
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to take a deep breath while I speak here. So now I'm going to attempt to respond to literally every single thing you just said. Because seemingly what you are doing is you are attempting to overwhelm me with about 1 billion different unrelated topics so you don't have to get nuanced on any specific topic.
I'm talking about your wording.
Please, hold off. And I'll be very clear with demonstrating that this point is true. Okay? Right? First point, you came up here and you told me that it was super bad for me to vote for Kamala Harris, and because I voted for Kamala Harris, I support genocide. I then give you an incredibly succinct and nuanced argument to prove you wrong, detailing how
Voting for anybody who takes
specifically
APAC money
I
is
would
supporting
really-
genocide.
I would really appreciate it if you could just hold off. Is that fine?
There's no excuse for genocide. I'm sorry.
Well, so now you're not even allowing me to repeat the point. Now you're saying that the nuance isn't even worth it. So now I'm going to put you on mute and I'm going to finish speaking. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate your patience. Now to get back to the point. Donald Trump is and was more pro-Israel than Kamala Harris. In a system where there's two options that are viable and realistic, such as the only two viable and realistic options of the 2024 election, which was Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, you are very obviously going to want to vote for the candidate in which would allow, permit, or cause the lowest level of harm in a dichotomy where both candidates will cause harm. That is so true.
Okay, did you know Mexico broke their duopoly this year?
No, I didn't.
With their president, they broke the duopoly. Yeah, they did. And with your platform, maybe you could have done the same thing. But no, you're not a radical. You're part of the system. I'm sure you're probably being paid by the DNC, if I'm being honest. Like Brooklyn Dad was caught on Twitter being paid by the DNC. I'm sure you're paid by the DNC.
Did you just tell me with my...
Did you just tell me there'll be a scandal in like 5 years.
Did you just tell me with my platform I could have gotten over 70 million people to vote for a third-party candidate?
No, but you could have at least gotten like 5% for like the Green Party. No, for real,
Well,
like
but
the Green Party.
imagine if I got 5% for the Green
And
Party.
you could have gotten, if you would have gotten, yeah, that would have gotten them federal funding so they could actually be a viable option and Democrats could stop kicking them off the ballots like they've been doing. And I know you know that they've been doing that.
But would they have won the election?
No, but they would have gotten 5% to break up
So
the...
Donald Trump would still be president today? So you're telling me to take a course of action in which would have just realistically increased the likelihood of Donald Trump being president?
He already did. He already won. Like, what are you missing? Like, he already won. Who cares?
You're saying because
Like, Kamala Harris was supporting G-side.
because I took a course of action to reduce the likelihood
You're
of Trump
laughing.
winning the presidency, that I'm paid by the DNC, and I'm a fascist
Like,
because I
cracking up and voted
didn't
for
take a
G-side.
course of action that would have realistically increased the likelihood of Trump
You
winning.
really are a fascist. You voted for someone taking APAC money. That's fascism.
Dude, if you want to call me a fascist, then the word fascist loses all value, okay? I find it to be incredibly distasteful, incredibly
you're a neo-
harmful to
Say you're a
suggest
neoliberal at
that...
least. Can you say you're neoliberal?
Donna, you are interrupting me.
Can you say you're a neoliberal at least? Maybe not a fascist, but say you're a neoliberal.
Donna, I'm going to
ahead.
go ahead and finish responding to what you said, my friend. Wait, I have a question. You said that you had a fight to come up here to talk to me. Why are you wanting to talk to fascists?
I'm disappointed in your platform. I think you could have done something way better.
You're not answering my
You could
question.
have definitely gotten 5%.
You're not answering my question. Why do you want a fascist to platform you?
I just fight everybody. I don't care.
Wait, so you're okay with like
If I
platforming
hear
fascists?
someone, I'm okay with debating anybody. You literally cried.
Okay, all right. Sorry, waste of time. I need to stop entertaining that. I'm sorry, guys. I need to stop entertaining that. I do. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I need to stop entertaining that. Welcome back, RJ. So go ahead and continue
Hi.
to tell us why you support Trump. I'm so terrible. Go ahead. I'm so bad. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Sorry. He had a $5,000 baby bonus. I had to like take a quick Google search, which sorry, I'm not that educated, but I really like the way that he kind of handled things, and he did kind of change up, or he handled things a lot differently than a lot of other presidents have. And so like he incentivized people having kids, people owning homes. There was he created a bunch of jobs. I'm not sure more about this term. It seems to kind of be like he's failing us more this term, I'll be honest. But last term,
Oh, okay. So like, what is one thing that he did in his first term that you were a fan of?
I absolutely love that he was like creating jobs for people.
How did he create jobs?
Okay, fair point. You got me there. He closed the borders, and
I appreciate you for like trying to like be open-minded here, right? Like suggesting
Yeah.
that like, you know, I got you there because you can't name something that he did to create the jobs. Like
You did.
But like I feel like, okay, moving forward, you should think about that. So before you believe something to be true of Trump, such as the idea that Donald Trump is creating a lot of jobs, you should always ask yourself, what did he do to create those jobs first? You should always demand that you explore the nuance instead of having to have somebody like me ask you for the nuance. Like, I think it's awesome that when I asked you for the nuance and you didn't have it, you admitted to that. I just like hope that you will now do that yourself moving forward. And by the way, I cannot hear you when you're on pause. And you're on pause right now. I'm going to go ahead and give her a little bit to Tim to come back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So why do you still support Trump today? Like, what is one good reason why you support Trump as president today?
He closed the borders. We didn't have half as many border crossings, and even this term, I would say, we've not had hardly any illegal crossings or anything like that.
Okay. So in his second term, what has Donald Trump done to reduce border entry into America? What good policies he passed?
I don't know the policies, but I know people haven't been coming over, and I know that that's good.
Right. Well, what I would say here is that, yeah, I agree that border crossings into this country have significantly dropped, like in the sense of undocumented immigrants. It's true. But I would say the way in which he has successfully gotten border entries to decrease is not because of effective good policy, but it's rather because of literal fascism, right? You know, like for instance, at the end of the day, all immigrants that want to or will immigrate into America, legal or not, inevitably are going to do so because they want a higher quality of life for themselves and possibly even their family. Now, because Donald Trump has been violating both the human and constitutional rights of undocumented immigrants in this country, like illegally deporting Abrigo Garcia to be beaten and tortured and starved in Sica in El Salvador for 3 weeks, or illegally deporting Venezuelan immigrants without due process, blackbacking college students, or even detaining legal immigrants with green cards, such as Mahmoud Khalil, for 3 months, what that is demonstrating to all potential immigrants, legal or not, coming into the country, is that inevitably, if they do come in the country, they might end up just like Abrigo Garcia and have their human rights violated. So they'll inevitably switch their position into thinking that they'll have a lower quality of life in the country, so they no longer want to enter. Now, this is obviously wrong for a handful of reasons. The first reason it's wrong is because it's immoral. And the second reason it's wrong is because it's short term. The moment we don't have a fascist president anymore, that incentive structure is going to reverse and entry will continue.
Okay. Also, abortion rates dropped, and I'm not like some people where I believe abortion's wrong in all situations. I think that if we legalized it for rape, incest, and life of the mother, great. Everything else, I don't particularly think it should be legal. I'm willing to explore that with you. I know your IUD standing and a lot of the things that you have some really good points on.
I have a question, real quick. This will take like 3 seconds. Were you raised in a Republican area with Republican family, with a Republican family and Republican friends?
I was raised in an independent family, and then I had really strong Democrats on my dad's side. But all of those Democrats, and I'm not like saying that all Democrats are this way, the ones in my family were extremely hateful people. And anytime a Republican was on the TV, they'd talk about wanting them to get shot or killed or whatever. And it just, I do have a very bad experience with the Republican Party, and then all the. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing.
I don't know what happened then. Okay. Well, now to get back to what I said. So you said that abortion rates have dropped. That's actually not true. Abortion rates are now going up for the first time in 32 years. Christy, thank you for the galaxy. Now moving on to the second point. Why the hell do you think that elective lethal abortion should be banned?
What's elective lethal abortion?
That's an abortion where a man and a woman engage in consensual intercourse. The woman gets pregnant, wasn't like through incest, rape, and her life's not on the line, and yet she opts to get an elective abortion. That's what an elective abortion is.
Because I believe that it's ending a human life without proper cause, and I believe life begins at conception, and I believe that once you hit the point of rape and incest and like young kids and life of the mother, then you kind of get to choose, or not that you, I think it's between you and kind of God or whatever your religious thing is. It's between you and everybody else what you do at that point. But if there's just no reason you just don't want to have a kid, then put it up for adoption.
Okay,
And,
well,
like,
first and
I'm really
foremost,
sorry that
adoption is an
happened.
alternative to pregnancy. Adoption is only an alternative towards raising a child, not to pregnancy. The only alternative to pregnancy before the point of viability is lethal abortion. And second point, you're telling me that you think it's wrong because it's the termination of a human life. I don't think that merely ending a human life is wrong on its own. I think that there has to be more than that. Like, for instance, when you pull the plug on a brain dead patient, you are ending a human life, but we don't think it's wrong. Right. So there has to be some type of difference between a brain dead patient and a fetus that makes you value the fetus, but not the brain dead patient. But that difference is not the existence of human life, because they are both humans that are biologically alive.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Same thing. There's self-defense. There's issues like that. I agree that there are reasons to end human life. I think that why would somebody, like I'm a woman, I don't want to have kids. Pregnancy does not sound wonderful to me, but you play certain games, you win certain prizes. At the point that you're engaging in intercourse and whatever, then you understand it's, in most cases, you're educated enough to know that there's going to be a consequence to that, possibly.
Okay.
And
I don't like this argument. This argument is something that I title as the obligation born out of acknowledgement of potential consequences. Okay? You're basically saying that a woman or girl is obligated to maintain her pregnancy because when she consensually engaged in intercourse, she acknowledged the potential outcome of that pregnancy may be the conception of a zygote and pregnancy. But I don't think in like any other context ever we will ever truly say that because you acknowledge the potential outcomes of your action that therefore you have an obligation to deal with said potential outcomes. A good example of this would be that of like a chain smoker that acknowledges smoking cigarettes could cause them to have lung cancer, but if they get lung cancer, we're not going to say you're obligated to fucking deal with it like you want to say to pregnant women and girls, but we're rather going to say if you want to go to the hospital, meet with a medical health professional, get chemotherapy to kill that lung cancer, you should be well within your rights to do it. Same thing would apply to like liver failure and alcoholics, or even like the acknowledgement that when you go out and drive, you may get T-boned by a drunk driver. Ultimately, it's not going to be your fault if it happens.
okay, so why do those babies get less human rights just because of where they are?
Well, my argument for why I don't think that the life of a fetus is valuable has nothing to do with their location and all to do with their lack of exhibiting the trait of sentience. I think what gives us value is our ability to subjectively interact with the world around us, not our species or our location. And it is the case that today, doctors, more particularly neuroscientists, tell us that sentience can only emerge at around 20 through 24 gestational weeks, meaning before that point, they can't exhibit or portray any subjective experiences, any level of consciousness, any level of sentience. And for that reason, I just don't think that they're a morally valuable life form.
So what about like dementia patients or people who are, I have a aunt, she's like 98, she like can hardly do anything, she can't even really open her eyes. And like at that point, should we just off those people and they don't have any value?
When your eyes are closed, are you still conscious?
I mean, yeah, so should we pull the plug on everybody who's brain dead and never like, because there's some times where they can wake up and sometimes where they can't. Where do we draw the line?
Now you're asking me like if it would be in accordance with my view here on abortion that it's okay to pull the plug on brain dead patients. The answer is yes. In fact, I think it's pretty crazy to suggest that pulling the plug on a brain dead patient in the hospital is wrong.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. I've never really heard that view before. Okay.
You'll hear that view from any doctor. I mean, the doc like that's like the typical view. That's like the common view. We like. Do you think it's murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient? Do you think that most people think it's murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient?
I wouldn't call it murder, but also I've known somebody who was brain dead at one point and woke up. So
well, then they weren't brain dead; they were misdiagnosed. Brain death is the permanent is the permanent ending of all cognitive function. So if somebody is quote unquote brain dead, but then wakes up, then they weren't actually brain dead.
Interesting. Okay. So you believe that abortion should just be open pretty much for like kind of whoever and whenever people want it, they should have access to it?
Yeah, for the most part.
I'm
yeah.
asking. I'm not okay.
Yeah, pretty much, for the most part.
Well, how many like potential lives is that going to end? And the birth rate?
Probably less potential lives than the use of condoms.
Are we talking about because of a latex issue, like a latex allergy?
No, you said like how many potential lives is this going to prevent from future existence? Probably less potential lives than people use condoms. Okay, well, it doesn't matter because in the same way that abortion kills like a fertilized egg or a fetus, preventing the existence of a future life like yours or mine, using a condom prevents implantation before it even occurs by not allowing the sperm to enter into the vagina, preventing the future existence of a potential life like yours or mine. Right? You said, well, how many future potential lives is this going to end or like, X out the potentiality of existing in the first place? It's going to be less than that of the use of condoms in America. Year by year. Like, do you think it's wrong when people use condoms because they are preventing the future existence of potential people by preventing conception from occurring altogether?
I know people who have that view. I don't personally hold that view, no.
Okay, right. So then seemingly we agree here that there's nothing wrong with the prevention of future lives from existing, such as yours or mine.
I think that once the egg's already like implanted and it's starting to grow, I mean, at that point, that's a human life. I don't believe that a human has a soul until it takes its first breath in, but that's probably a religious thing you don't want to go down.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah. Now you're just once again you're no longer giving me an argument saying that abortion is wrong because
know, I'm
it's preventing
sorry.
the future existence of individuals like you or I, and instead you're going back to the argument of saying that abortion is wrong because it's killing a human. But we've already disputed that by pointing out that we don't think it's murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient, even though they're also human, and that is a trait that they share with a fetus. Meaning that if you want to argue that the fetus is valuable and the brain dead patient is not, you'd have to give a trait that is true of the fetus and false
Okay.
of the brain dead patient.
Where's a brain dead patient going? They're not going to get better. Okay. A human life is going to continue to develop and grow and hopefully become a baby and like actually have a life. I mean,
Okay, right.
Does that make sense?
Now you're saying, well, it's because it's a human life with a future of its own, with a potential future of its own. Well, I mean,
it's
I
not
even
the
think
mother's
that.
DNA, not her choice.
Yeah, I even think that like this view is like pretty absurd because what this would tell us is that a conceived like zygote, a unicellular human organism, would be just as valuable as you or I, and it would be murdered to kill a zygote just as it would be to decapitate you or I. Do you hold that view?
Can you repeat what you said? I'm sorry, I got a little lost. I apologize.
Do you think just like it'd be murder to like take a pew pew and shoot me through the head, it would also be murder to kill a unicellular human zygote because they are a human with a future?
Yeah, I don't think that all women who have committed abortions need to go to prison.
That's not
but
what
yes,
I asked.
I do
I'm
believe
just
it's
asking
murder.
if you think that it's
Yes, I
murder to kill a
believe it's murder.
unicellular human zygote.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't understand how like that's like kind of nuts.
How is it kind of nuts?
Well, you just said that it would be just as wrong and just as murderous to put a bullet through my head as it would be to like stomp out a unicellular human zygote.
Are they two different sets of human DNA?
Yeah, I'm gonna have different human DNA than a random human zygote. Yeah.
Then yeah, I would say it's the same thing. It's all human rights. It's all human DNA.
Oh God. Okay. Oh wow. So, is it murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient? I think that I've been floating this idea. I don't think I've ever asked you for your thoughts on this on the matter.
I don't particularly feel educated enough to answer the question. I would say no if they're brain dead and they're never going to like have thoughts again or whatever.
But they're human beings. I
I-
thought didn't you just say that human rights are given to all human beings, and this is why you hold on to the absurd
I agree,
view of arguing
but
that
we
it is literally
established that a
murder to kill a
baby can't
unicellular
grow.
human zygote?
Well, human zygote's going to eventually become a baby. A brain dead patient's going to sit there and be dead.
So then you're saying that human rights are not given to all human beings; they're specifically given to any member of our species with a future like ours.
I would say, I guess. It feels a little bit like a trap, but I'll fall into it, sure.
Well, I mean, it's not a trap. It's just me demonstrating the contradiction of the view that you're purporting to me and to the rest of the live stream.
Okay.
Okay, and now that you've gone there, I mean, I just think that this is like an absurd view. I do, truly, right?
Okay.
Because like you would now argue that like women that kill zygotes by maybe like having an IUD that prevents their implantation, starving them to death, are culpable for murder. Would you say that if like you were dictator of the world, you would want all murderers to go to jail?
Yes and no. If we're defining murder as someone who killed a human, then not particularly. I don't think women who've gotten abortions, they're not the ones committing the murder. So no, yeah, sure, throw all the murderers in prison. The
Are you saying
women
that the
are not
doctor's
the ones.
the doctor's the one that's committing the murder?
Absolutely.
So should we throw the doctors in prison?
That's exactly what I would say. Yeah, if they're the ones committing the abortions, they're the ones killing
Okay,
the human
so
life.
we need to imprison all the doctors.
That's not all doctors.
Okay, I have a
I'm sorry?
question. Do you think that Trump should be in
Okay.
prison?
I'm not sure on that one. That's the question I've gotten a lot. I'm not sure.
So
I think
Donald
that,
Trump has openly boasted about perving on the naked bodies of underage teenage girls at Miss Teen USA. So he sexually exploited minors, right? So you'd say a man that is sexually exploited minors maybe shouldn't be in prison, but should rather be president. But a man or a woman that went to school for 12 years to study medicine and then performed an abortion on a fetus at 12 weeks should spend the rest of their life in prison. I just think that that's kind of insane.
I know that if I'd never heard that specific accusation, I've heard a lot about the tax evasion and all that stuff. I think every political figure does stuff with their taxes that they shouldn't, and launders money and does all sorts of ridiculousness.
Wait, I actually have another question. So,
Okay.
do you remember Luigi Mangione?
I don't. I apologize.
That's the guy that killed a healthcare CEO. Do you remember him?
I don't, sadly.
Ah, god damn it! Because I was gonna say, did you like celebrate his death because he was killed, but yet he was like a super immoral and bad person for funding a system in which supports the genocide of over 1 million valuable humans per year?
I don't celebrate the death of anybody, and that might ruffle some feathers. I work with some anti-human trafficking companies, and I pray for the traffickers. I don't support anybody's, like, celebrate death. Support maybe is different. I don't celebrate a death at all. I think it's gruesome and horrible.
Okay.
But
yeah, is there anything else that you want to tell us? Like, I don't know. I feel like I've successfully demonstrated why your view is like so incredibly absurd. I'm just like, I don't know.
You've given me a lot to take home.
I don't personally pray for traffickers, but like,
I apologize.
at like the end of the day, you know, like the issues with your view is that you like literally think that killing a unicellular human organism is just as wrong and just as murderous as like literally ripping my head off, and that you'd say individuals that are culpable for those actions should be imprisoned, including women that have IUDs, that know what the IUD does, that chooses to be sexually active, and doctors who perform abortions in Planned Parenthood clinics. And I think that on its own is enough to dispute your view and demonstrate why no one should agree with you. But I don't really see how this conversation would move forward from this point.
All right. Thank you so much for the time. And I'm actually a really big fan, so I appreciate it. I love watching you.
You're an interesting case because you're up here, you're trying to be level-headed, you're trying to be calm, and you're trying to be respectful. But at the same time, you just hold on to like views that I just like see as like incredibly wrong and bad.
I have a lot to look up and a lot of actually homework to do now that you're sending me home with. So I think you'd be shocked at the things that questions I have to go figure out now. So.
I'd be interested to see where you're at in a year from now if you continue to research politics. I would be interested to see where she's at. Seriously, I think that she has the ability to change her mind, but just those views are just like so crazy. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next guest at this point. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. We're going to get you loaded up in here. There's a handful of people that I need to thank. Yo, Mutant Fun, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. I really appreciate that. Fun, that is FAWN. Thank you so much. Fun with the $50 says we need to protect abortion. We need to protect rural access to mifepristone. That's not how you pronounce the word. I feel like Donald Trump trying to pronounce the pharmaceutical name of the generic drug of Tylenol. Mifepristone, is that how you pronounce it? I feel like such an unintelligent person. But absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. Fun. Let's get 500 fun W's down below in that comment section. I really appreciate you for the $50. That is seriously very fucking kind of you. Thank you so much, Fun. What's up, Evan? Do you support Trump as president?
What's up, Dean? I do.
Okay, all right, man. I'm going to go to pass you the mic before I do. There's just a handful of others that I do need to thank. I do apologize. Grayson, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo, saying, hey, Dean, back at it again, and I want to know if you're going to be going around to rallies during the next election. Oh, you know it, Grayson. As well as Damien, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. And Reagan, thank you so much for the $25 over on Venmo. Thank you so much. Reagan with the $25. Show some love to Reagan down below. Says, people are saying you're live right now is screen recording. Is it true, or is this actually live? No, this is live. I'm pretty sure that they're saying that they're screen recording the live. As well as Josh, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo, asking me if I've seen the new Demon Slayer movie yet. I have not. And Kelsey with the 10, thank you guys so much. Show some love to Reagan, Kelsey, and Josh down below in that comment section. Then two more people here. Christy, thank you for the $25. Thank you so much. Christy says zygotes do not have more rights than a woman has. I love the logic you just laid down. Yeah, that was so absurd of her to suggest. As well as Lindsay with the $10. Thank you so much. I think a lot of people forget that empirically the best way to reduce the number of abortions is comprehensive sex ed and reproductive health care, alongside better social safety nets for new families and young women. And yeah, Lindsay, we actually talk about that every so often. I think that the best way for anti-abortion advocates to make this country better is to attempt to reduce the amount of abortions, not by advocating for them being banned, but to rather advocate for the elimination of a majority of the incentives for abortions, like eliminating financial insecurity in young women and young families, and advocating for comprehensive sex ed in schools, and advocating for free access to safe and functional contraceptives in schools as well. Anyways, Evan, go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump as president.
All right. First, I want you to tell me why you think I support Trump, because I think you assume what you think I know.
I think that you support Trump because I asked you if you support Trump, and you said yes.
All right, fine. I'll answer it. Actually, okay, cool.
Are you
okay.
asking like the reasons why you support Trump?
Well, no, because I think what a lot of people who don't support Trump, not saying MAGA left, I'm not saying any political ideology. I'm just saying people who don't support Trump often assume that all Trump supporters support him for the same reason.
I don't actually agree with that. I mean, I think that there isn't like a long list of reasons. But like, on this live, we probably hear like 5 to 10 different arguments, like on repeat, and then they kind of like shift or change, or maybe there's a new one with like updating things that the administration does. But I wouldn't say that all Trump supporters support him for the same reason.
Well, I appreciate that you don't think that.
I don't really think anyone thinks that.
Oh, awesome. Nobody thinks that? Cool. Okay, I support Trump because I personally think his heart is where this country needs to be, but he's just misled. And also, I believe he's defunding corrupt organizations. Of course, the media doesn't want to talk about it because the media is corrupt itself. But yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, you can't just say the media is corrupt. The media is not a single organization. The media
Okay,
is not
fine.
one entity. The media
You win.
would encapsulate a mode of public discourse in a domain of like free and critical thought, right? Now,
Gotcha.
you said that you support him because you think his heart is in the right place. Where's his heart at? Hannah,
I mean,
thank you for the blind
technically,
box
if you
surprise.
want
I
to,
appreciate you.
if you want to
Thank
be technical and scientific about it, I mean, in this physical realm, his heart's in his chest, right?
Oh, brother.
Why are you upset with me?
I'm just woof. Just okay.
I
So when you
stalked
told me
your
that you
page.
support Trump
Hold
as
on.
president because of where his heart is at, you like obviously that's going to be like a metaphorical statement, not a literal one. And you
Right.
So where's
Okay,
his
fine.
heart at metaphorically speaking that makes you think that he's a good president?
I think his heart wants to do the right thing. What? I'm being for real.
What the fuck? Why would you ever think such a silly thing?
Because I've seen his inspirational, motivational speeches that not many people see.
Like which one? Give me one of his inspirational, motivational speeches.
He said, like, he wants the youth and the whole future of America to chase their dreams and be able to do that.
Oh, okay. And he's going to ensure that they actually have the ability to chase their dreams by what? Taking healthcare away from 10 million low-income Americans, by what? Passing the
Well-
most expensive bill in American history that is reducing the purchasing power of 156 million Americans, or
Yes.
imposing tariffs on like every other country in the world, which is ultimately
Yes.
an aggressive tax on the poor in this country.
Well, if you look at healthcare, that's just what it's called. It's called healthcare, but I've been through many mental facilities and I know they're not helping anyone.
Are you talking about like places that you go to like when you're having like a psychotic break or you get 5150'd?
Well, yes, when they label a psychotic break, when you're really just a happy person in a sad world.
Well, funny enough, I actually do think that like mental healthcare facilities in America could do a lot better. A lot of them are underfunded and politicized, especially in red areas.
They should have less funding.
I actually, that's only going to make them worse.
That will get rid of them, actually. Big Pharma?
We shouldn't get rid of mental health facilities. We should just make them significantly better.
So how did people survive before we had this huge technology uproar?
Well, actually, if you look back on the generations before us and the generations before them, down the line, so on and so forth, people actually had higher mortality rates during childbirth, died at younger ages on average, and lived less happy lives.
You can't prove that people lived less happier lives. You're not comparing to a specific time period. I just said before the technological uproar, I'm not talking about like 1940s. I'm talking about like ancient times. People had wisdom that we choose to ignore.
Are you like a eco-fascist?
So I'm not any label.
I think that you're an eco-fascist. Are you like just
Well, you can
destroy
think that all you want.
destroy like all like just destroy the countries, destroy the infrastructure, destroy the technology, destroy the medicine, and embrace like a natural state of being, living in caves, like cooking.
So I do
cooking deer meat
want
for
to-
dinner over.
Okay,
over
so that's
brisk
kind
fire.
of, that label doesn't describe me, but some of those motives are kind of true because I really want to take down everything that's corrupt.
Okay, but then you support the most corrupt president in modern American history. Same dude that tried to steal and rig a federal election and said 3 days ago that it's illegal to criticize him in the media. Make that make sense.
Well, what if Trump had insider information that an election was rigged and he wasn't allowed to share that because people would come after him, and he did share it anyways, and people did come after
Yeah,
him?
and what if Bush gave Osama bin Laden $1 million to do 9/11? You can't like dream up some crazy
He
hypothetical
probably did.
that is egregious to think is true and then treat it as fact and ignore what we have more evidence to believe, such as the fact that Biden won, obviously.
Okay, cool. Okay, what you said about Osama is interesting to me. Okay,
Like what that was, dude. Wait, you said that you actually think that Bush did hire Osama bin Laden, dude.
I don't think it was.
Get out of my life. Get out of my life. I'm not going to torture myself today with this nonsense. I'm not going to do it. Okay. For those of you that were watching yesterday, you know I had a long day. Okay. I am not going to be doing that again. Dude, we hear the craziest shit on these lives sometimes. Oh my God. Just get out of here. Yo, Janaf, thank you for the $10 over on Super Chat saying I support Trump. Being impeached. Me too, Janef. Show some love to Janef down below in that comment section. As well as Addie with the $10 on Super Chat saying, hey, Dean, how's Momo? Oh, Momo's doing good. Before I went live, I was actually petting her for a good 10 or 15 minutes. She was being super cute. She's in a good mood today. Love Momo. Thank you both for the $10. You guys are awesome. Let's go to get that next guest mic loaded into the box. Only hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. As well as Abigail. Thank you so much for the $20 over on Bayball. Thank you, Abigail. One moment. I'm going to thank you in a second. Mike, what's up? Do you support Trump? Mike is blow drying his hair. We got to kick him and move on to the next guest. Abigail with the $20 on PayPal says, thank you, man, for teaching these DUMBASSESs. What's right? Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Thank you, Abigail. That is very kind of you. I would really appreciate it if everyone watching could show some love to Abigail, not just for a kind message, but also for the $20. Thank you so much. What's up? Do you support Trump?
I do.
Age, please.
18, 2007, April 3rd.
Cool. Mia, thank you for the $6 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Mia. And then Lake, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, saying W Dean Fun. Yesterday was my golden age birthday, 24th on the 24th, 24 on the 24th. Thank you for keeping me educated. Love you, dude. Oh, Lake, well, happy late birthday. Thank you for the $10. Everyone, spam some birthday love to Lake down below. Lake is always hanging out with us. Seriously, thank you so much. And take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
Dean, is it true liberals stick their fingers up their ass and say the N-word every single day?
What the hell? We're going to go to kick you and move on to the next guest. Give us a minute so we can get the next guest up here. Moving on, guys. Go ahead and throw a Trump with your age down below in that comment section if you want to join. We'll get you up here. What's up, Ash? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do, but I actually got a question for you.
Do you mind if I just ask you how old you are?
I am 19.
Okay, and what year were you born in?
2005.
Okay, and what time is it?
12:36.
Okay, so why do you support Trump?
Well, actually, I wasn't actually going to come on and debate about that. I was actually going to come out and ask you a question because I haven't heard your thoughts from it. What do you think about Charlie Kirk's death? I've looked up on TikTok to see your reaction because I know you have talked about it, but I couldn't find it.
We are just here to talk about what people support Trump. So if you don't want to debate me on that, I'm going to go to move on. But I just want to clarify. Do you want to tell us why you support Trump?
Well, I support him in kind of a lot of things, especially in religious ways too. But one I do support him about is about closing the border and deporting.
Closing the border and deporting. Wait, I thought that you said that you supported him religiously?
Yeah, too, because he is a Christian too, and some of the stuff that he does say, I do believe.
1 second. Leviticus 19:33-34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner living among you must be treated as one of your own people, and you must love him as you love yourself. Doesn't this seemingly contradict Donald Trump's immigration policy of not just mistreating undocumented immigrants, but sending them to be beaten and tortured illegally in CCOT? While then also saying that they're poisoning the blood of the country and lying, stereotyping them as violent criminals by saying they all escaped mental asylums and prisons? And doesn't this, on a greater level, contradict the foundation of your claim, arguing that he's a good Christian that follows the teachings of Jesus?
I didn't know anything about that. Wait, can you say that again? real quick, because
What part would you like me to say again?
him deporting and supposedly them getting beaten or whatever. I don't really heard what you said because you kind of cut out for a
Oh
second.
yeah, that was Abrigo Garcia. He was an immigrant in America with a withholding order forbidding his removal. The Trump administration ignored that, illegally deported him to El Salvador. And when he was in CCOT in El Salvador, he was tortured for 3 weeks. He was forced to kneel from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And if he fell out of exhaustion, he would have been beat by the guards. He was beat by the guards, and he also lost 30 pounds in 3 months.
But how? But in his defense, how is that his fault when he just deported him?
So actually,
no,
El Salvador said that
his fault in
El Salvador told the UN that the USA had oversight over the treatments of the detainees and immigrants held in CCOT from America.
Oh, all right. Well, I didn't know that.
Hey, you take care, man. You take care. Let's go to move on to the next guest. Hop in that queue if you happen to be an American that supports Donald Trump as president. Let's go and get that next guest loaded up in here. We got Tyler loaded in, as well as Gerber. This was a little bit ago, but I just wanted to appreciate you so much. You had sent a gift. It was the baby dragon. I appreciate that. Thank you, Gerber. As well as the Chasing the Dream. Thank you so much, man. You're awesome. Let's go and get that next guest loaded up in. Only hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. Please. As well as Naf. Thank you so much for another $50 super chat on YouTube. Holy shit, man. Oh my God. Show some love to Naf down below. That is GNAFF. Please show some love to Naf, y'all. With a $50 donation, they say, Dean, it's pronounced Naf. The G is silent. Now I know, my friend. Thank you so much for the $50. Seriously, that's insane. As well as if you're watching and you'd like to support me, you'd like to support what we do here, you could find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok. I get 100% of all the proceeds donated over on those platforms. They go straight to me. But let's go and get that next guest loaded up in here right now. What's up? Are you MAGA? Nope, they're gone. Go to put a Trump with your age down below, guys, if you do want to come up. Yeah. Right now, we're just looking for that next guest, quite frankly. We got She Cries Dust loading up in. As well as, let's see here, Caroline. Thank you for the $14 on PayPal. Thank you so much, Caroline. Caroline with the $14 says boycotting USA as much as possible. Happy to make an exception with you. Peace. You know what, Caroline? If I lived outside of America, I'd be doing the same shit. Absolutely. I appreciate you for the $14. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Absolutely.
You really shouldn't. He's a terrible dude with terrible policy, terrible agenda, terrible past, terrible everything. Why the hell do you support him?
Sure. Well, in the United States, we only get really two choices, and I'm very familiar with Kamala Harris. My husband is from the San Francisco Bay Area, and honestly, I support Trump's policies, especially with rebalancing the federal versus state powers, putting power back into the states' hands, especially around abortion and marriage, as it should be.
Okay. Listen, I hear the claim about abortion like every single day from Trump supporters, and I'm going to talk to you about that. But before I do, you said abortion and marriage. What do you mean marriage rights should be in the hands of the states? What the hell could you possibly mean by that? If I had to take a random guess here, you're about to tell me that states should be able to ban gay marriage.
Well, no, I think that the responsibilities and duties as outlined in the Constitution and responsibility should be by the states, regardless of my own feelings. I am pro-gay marriage.
It is not unconstitutional to protect marriage rights on the federal level.
What marriage rights are on the federal level?
Yeah, for instance, the policy passed by the federal government to enshrine and protect the right for gay marriage in all 50 states.
Yes, and I understand I voted for Obama the first time around, second time did not, immediately regretted that one. But again, why is it, 1 second, let me try to think back on when this should be. I think that...
Well, I mean, I just think that your argument falls apart right there because you said the Constitution says that marriage should be legislated on at the state level. That's just simply not true, or else protecting marriage rights at the federal level would be unconstitutional. And Congress, alongside the presidency, they wouldn't be able to pass policy to do that. However, they did, and they continue to.
Well, fine. It is what it is with that. I do hope it does go back to the states.
Why would you possibly support that? Why would you support giving states the ability to legislate on such an important matter? Isn't that just incredibly regressive for the state of this country and discrimination on the basis of one's sexual orientation?
I disagree. For example, Vermont has had gay marriage for a very long time. And I think the government should be bottom up, not top down.
So you just think that nearly everything should be on the state level?
Personally, no. Some things, obviously, we're united
why do you
in
think
some
that marriage should be on the
We
state
are
level?
united
I have a
in
question.
some things.
Do you
as the
think that
United
women's right to vote should be on the state level?
States. No, because it was already established that women have a right to vote.
Oh, in the Constitution? Well, guess what? I'm asking you about what you think should be the case, not what is the case. So do you think it should be the case that women's right to vote is protected on the federal level? Or do you think it should be the case that a woman's right to vote is not protected on the federal level?
I think it says all men are created equal and women are men. We just are a man with a womb, so we are women.
Women are men?
Mankind is men, including women. What makes us different is we have a womb, which is why we're called women.
So you're saying
So when I
so you're
hear
saying okay,
all men are created equal, I hear everyone.
okay, does that include gay people?
Of course.
Okay, well then you're telling me that women's right to vote should be protected on the federal level because all people are created equal and because straight individuals have the right protected on the federal level, therefore so should gay individuals. Right?
Everyone's.
Oh wait, I'm so sorry. I skipped a part of the argument there, but that was like that was like the end goal. Just kind of ignore that. That was supposed to be the conclusion. I just skipped a part of the argument. I'm gonna go back to what I was saying.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Just let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. I skipped
Yes,
a part of
please.
the argument. I got there. I just left out a part. So you told us that all people are created equal, and because men have the right to vote on the federal level, therefore so should women. That's your argument, right?
No.
Well, then what the fuck
It
is
is
your
not.
argument?
My argument is that we are. You are trying to framework it because I said it was on the federal level. I'm saying any level. I don't believe that states have a right. It's in all states' constitution. And when people say men, it, I believe, should be inherently included in women. I don't believe states should have a right to tell women they cannot vote.
Okay, right, and I agree with you, but the question I'm asking you is why? Why should states not have the right to be able to pass legislation to take the right to vote away from women, but they should have the right to pass legislation to take the right of marriage away from gay people?
If you want to know personal beliefs, it's very different than what actually is. Because I don't believe that marriage should even be a state thing. I think people should be forced to have someone who is responsible for them, not necessarily marriage, but like civil unions, because marriage can be construed by Christians as like a church marriage.
Wait, so you're saying that states should be able to criminalize gay marriage because you just don't think that marriage should even
I don't
exist?
believe in criminalizing marriage at all.
Preventing
I think if a gay person wants to have a civil union, I think marriage and civil unions should be separated and everyone can have a civil union. I think marriage should stay in whatever church you have. Why do you believe poly people should be able to marry their multiple people they're polyamorous with?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And they can have civil unions with multiple people. Why not?
So you're just saying that like people like legally speak like so you're saying that marriage shouldn't even exist as a legal concept, but rather it should be replaced with a legal concept of civil union?
Yes.
Okay, well, then what is the difference between the way that you're using the word marriage and the way that you're using the word civil union?
I feel like too many people misconstrue the concept of marriage. It's been enshrined in churches, Christianity.
So then answer my question.
things.
What is the difference between the terms here? What's the difference between marriage and civil unions?
So a civil union would give you rights. So if I was dying on my deathbed and I had a civil union with you, you could help me make my decisions. My inheritance would go to you.
Okay,
Something
so then legally speaking, there is no difference between legal marriage and civil unions in your mind?
The legality, yes. The PR spin on it, no. And the same thing for like Muslims.
So just legally speaking, there's no difference?
I think in my mind, there is a difference.
Well, you just told us that there wasn't. So on a legal level, what do you think the difference should be between marriage and civil unions on a legal level?
I think legally it should be civil unions. If you want to call it a marriage, then
So then we're just debating words here. We're just debating words here. Ultimately speaking, what you call a civil union is what I call a legal marriage. So you do think that legal marriages should be protected on the federal level for gay Americans, and you do not think that states should have the ability to legislate on that.
That is correct because of the language.
Okay,
Because
so,
right
so
now
then when you said that
saying-
states should have the ability to legislate on marriage, what did you even mean? Because legal marriage is something that you think states should not have the ability to legislate on.
Correct.
So then
That
what
is
did
my
you even
personal
mean when
feeling.
what did you even mean when you said that states should be able to legislate on marriage? Because it honestly sounds like you don't think they should.
Personally, I don't. But constitutionally and what it says currently, I do.
What the fuck? Wait, now you're saying once
My
again
personal
now you're going
beliefs
back
is
to the
not the
original
reality
claim.
of the United
Now you're going
States.
back to the original claim that the Constitution says that marriage should be legislated on at the state level, right?
So is education.
That's
There's
not true. Wait,
responsibilities
that's not
and
true. The
duties.
Constitution doesn't say that.
States' constitutions say that.
What? We're talking
Can I follow
about
up with you and send some documentation, or what are we?
We're talking about the Constitution of the United States of America, not state constitutions.
I'm talking about responsibilities and duties of states versus federal government.
Yeah, but nowhere in the Constitution of the United States of America does it delegate marriage as a responsibility and duty legislated on by the state and not legislated on by the federal government.
Could you? I'll have to look into that.
Dude, all that you need to know in order to prove what I'm saying right here is the fact that the federal government has legislated on marriage and that policy is in good standing with SCOTUS and the courts. Right? Because if the Constitution said that this is not a responsibility of the federal government and the federal government can't legislate on abortion because it's an issue of the states, then when, like, for instance, the federal government under Obama passed federal legislation to enshrine and protect gay individuals' access to marriage in all 50 states, that would have been illegal.
Rephrase that for me.
If it was unconstitutional for the federal government to legislate on marriage, then the Supreme Court would have ruled the legislation from the federal government on gay marriage as unconstitutional.
Right.
But that's not true. Policy from the federal government protecting gay individuals' right to marriage is in good standing with the Supreme Court and in good standing with all other courts. In fact, it's literally never been contested and been put in front of the Supreme Court and had the Supreme Court made a ruling on it.
Perhaps then I'm more focusing then on the legal duties under the state law because it is up to states on the financial support, the fidelity, like shared property and all that kind of stuff that does fall on the states when it comes to marriage and those types of decisions. So
Well, at this point, I just don't even think that you're giving us a reason why you support Trump. So why do you support Trump?
like I said, I do believe in more states' rights. Absolutely.
I don't think that abortion should be legislated on at the state level.
You don't?
No, I could give you a really compelling argument. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Could we agree, first off, that human rights should not be legislated on at the state level and should rather be protected at the federal level?
No.
So you think if everybody in Alabama wanted slavery back, you'd be okay with that?
No, I would not.
Okay, so human rights should be protected at the federal level.
What is a human? What is a human right versus what is a... So let's define human rights. Let's get into philosophy. These are philosophy questions.
Oh, God.
A fetus isn't viable until 24 weeks. So as a doctor, if
You're a doctor?
No, if I were. Obviously
No,
not.
you said as a doctor.
Like if I were a doctor,
You
let's
said
pretend.
as a doctor.
Oh my gosh. If I were a doctor, I would say children are not viable until 24 weeks. Therefore, if I, as a woman, had a miscarriage, they would not treat me, they would send me home. They would try not to save the baby. This is true. Right? And so...
I'm so sorry. I'm cutting you off. Could I tell you why?
Yes.
Because I asked a simple question and I'm not getting a response.
Oh, sorry. What was the question? I apologize.
Should human rights be protected at the federal level? First time you said no. So then I was like, okay, well, if human rights shouldn't be protected at the federal level, this means you think states should have the ability to legislate on them, meaning that you'd be okay with a state like I don't know, Alabama re-legalizing slavery because that would be them legalizing human rights violations. But then in turn to that, you said no, implying that, yeah, indeed, you do think that human rights should be protected on the federal level, explaining why you don't think that a state such as Alabama should have the ability to re-legalize slavery.
So I believe in human rights, obviously.
Should they be protected at the
I think
federal level?
Mississippi would have been a better example of who would do that, but that's okay.
Just should they be protected at the federal level?
I think so. I think it's more about how they go about it. So if all the states agree to a definition of what human rights is and is not, what is a human right versus what is a civilian right?
We're just talking about what you think. Do
Personally?
you think that human rights should be protected at the federal level? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Everyone in the comment section is spamming skip. I'm actually getting really close to skipping you if you can't answer simple questions.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Protected on all levels.
So now that you agree that human rights should be protected at the federal level in this country, can we agree that it's a human rights violation to infringe upon somebody's bodily autonomy when you don't have any good reason to do so? An example of infringing upon somebody's bodily autonomy without any good reason would be kidnapping.
Correct.
Okay, all right. And that's what I would say pro-life legislation is. I would say that pro-life legislation infringes upon the bodily autonomy of women without any good reason, as there's no good reason to ban abortion, as I do not find it to be morally wrong. For that reason, it is therefore a human rights violation, as it is an infringement upon somebody's bodily autonomy without any good reason. And because it is a human rights violation, and we agree that human rights should be protected at the federal level, we would therefore also agree that the federal government should protect against this human rights violation, thereby not giving states the ability to legislate on abortion.
When does a child have its own bodily autonomy? Doctors would say 24 weeks. So would you say late-term abortions are okay, or would you cut it off at 24 weeks, or would you say where my question isn't a if and when, it's more like around the details of that, because I'm not some Christian Trump supporter who just thinks,
Do you think that there's any good reason to ban abortion before viability?
Do I feel like there's any good reason
Yeah.
to ban it?
Yeah.
I think that's up to your culture and where you come from.
Okay. So I'm asking you about you and your moral standards.
My morals is probably 24 weeks and below.
There's no good reason?
No, I didn't say that. There are
Oh my
multiple
God.
reasons.
Is there,
That you would.
in accordance with your views, is there any good reason to stop a woman
Yes.
from accessing abortion before viability?
No, there's not a reason to stop her from accessing abortion.
Okay.
Up
So
to
then
24
we
weeks.
would agree that pro-life legislation in states that have passed it, right, that are stopping women from accessing abortion before viability, are infringing upon those women's bodily autonomy without any good reason, right?
I think it's more complicated than that.
It's not more complicated than that. It's self-entailed. You just affirmed that there's no good reason to prevent a woman from accessing abortion.
In my opinion.
Yes, in your opinion. Yes, this is a debate between me and you, so obviously it's going to be my opinion versus your opinion. In your opinion, you agreed that there's no good reason to prevent a woman from accessing abortion before viability, meaning policy that does prevent women from accessing abortion before viability are infringing upon their bodily autonomy without any good reason. It's not complicated. In fact, it is literally self-implied. I'm taking baby steps with this argument to not overcomplicate it, and ma'am, this is a baby step.
This is your framework that you're creating that we are working under right now.
Yes, because it is my argument that I'm making to you.
Correct.
So you agreed, once again, that because there's no good reason to prevent a woman from accessing abortion before viability, policy that does is infringing upon those women's bodily autonomy without any good reason, right?
Again, I feel like it's more complicated than that, and I won't agree.
Oh my God, it's simple mathematics. Can we agree policy that prevents women from accessing abortion infringes upon their bodily autonomy, just or unjust? It does do that. The same way that banning murder infringes upon murderers' bodily autonomy, just or unjust, it does that, right?
I think if you want an abortion in a red state...
That's not what I asked. Shut up and answer my question.
That was very rude.
That was really rude, and in fact, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was rude. That was rude.
Sorry, it's
My apologies.
frustrating you.
I'm just.
genuinely
You're right.
trying to
I'm
come
sorry.
from a
That was
place
very
of
mean
mutual
of me.
understanding.
This is unreal. Well, I apologize. That was very rude of me. Bad Dean. Terrible of me. I accept that. Now, please just answer the question. My serious apologies. I shouldn't have told you to shut up and answer the question. Very rude. I'm not even joking. Now I'm going to re-ask that. My apologies once again for the last time. Do you agree policy that prevents women from accessing abortion is infringing on their bodily autonomy, regardless if you think that infringement is okay or not?
I do not, because no one is forcing you. How can you force someone not to get a procedure? I get understanding forcing someone to get a procedure, forcing you not to have access to a procedure. I mean, if you don't have insurance, you can't go get things done. And if you wanted to get it done, go to a state, go to California, where you can have a late-term abortion if you wanted to.
Okay, so now you're saying that you don't think that pro-life legislation infringes upon the bodily autonomy of women because it is not making them do something with their body, but actually it is, because it's preventing them from actualizing upon their right to do what they want with their body by not allowing them to do this thing with their body, which would be to evict the fetus from their uterus, right?
That's elective.
Right. It's not allowing them to elect to do this thing with their body, which is infringing upon their bodily autonomy. And that's a fact, right? Like, and if you're pro-life, if you think that abortion should be banned, right, the next step would be to accept that it's infringing upon women's bodily autonomy, but you're okay with that infringement, right? The same way that, like, banning somebody from murdering their family, that's technically infringing on their bodily autonomy because you're saying they are not allowed to do this thing with their body, but you're saying that it's okay to infringe upon their bodily autonomy. It's okay to not allow them to do this thing with their body, because if they did do this thing with their body, then it would be wrong. But, like, still yet, policy and legislation, like criminalizing murder, criminalizing serial killing, is infringing upon the bodily autonomy of those that would serial kill. It's just okay to infringe upon their bodily autonomy, right?
I think states need to make it clear of what is acceptable and not.
Stop. You're not answering my question. You're making me go insane. Why am I talking to a brick fucking wall?
I'm not a brick fucking wall.
Yes,
I'm a
you
Native
are.
American and white female, registered. I do not appreciate your tone with me because you're not trying to come from a place of understanding.
You're just not responding to what I'm saying here. You're not responding to what
I
I'm
am
saying.
telling you, I believe it comes from the states up.
But that,
If
what
my
did I ask
state-
you? Very specifically, what is the question that I asked you?
I'm not sure. It was a little bit verbose and kind of going around in circles. So
Okay.
if you could very clearly in one statement tell me what the question is once more, I will be sure to answer. I'm sure you're trying to pinhold it into an easy yes or no
Yeah.
question, but I'm afraid.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I'm being harsh. I'm sorry if I'm being harsh. I'm going to try to not be as harsh. I think that today I have less patience than usual. I apologize for being harsh on you, okay? Now let's go back to what I was asking. Can we agree that policy that stops women and girls from accessing abortion is infringing on their bodily autonomy as it is not allowing them to do what they want with their body, right? Regardless if you think that infringement is okay or not, because keep in mind, oftentimes it is okay to infringe upon people's bodily autonomy by preventing them to murder, by preventing them from stealing, by preventing them from kidnapping, et cetera, and so on.
No, I disagree because it's similar to a tattoo. It's elective. You can't have a tattoo until you're 21. You know, does she have to tell her parents? Can she just go get one?
Right. Even in the
You can
example,
bleed out.
Even
This is a very serious thing.
even in the example of tattoos, in banning 18-year-olds from getting tattoos, right? We are infringing upon their bodily autonomy. But we just say it's okay to infringe upon the bodily autonomy of 17-year-olds in the prevention of them getting tattoos, right?
That's a slippery slope because what prevents teens from being sexually active if they want to? Absolutely not. I don't like that argument at all. I don't like that.
What do you think I'm saying? I want you to be clear. What do you think I'm trying to get you to agree to right now?
You're trying to get me to agree that if a state prevents a female from seeking an abortion in that state, that they are violating her medical, personal, bodily autonomy.
Yes, they're infringing on her bodily autonomy.
And I don't see it as them preventing her from, I mean, I guess so in some sense. No, I will agree because on a basic level, Yes, it is, because my bodily autonomy means I can do anything I want with my body. I can do what I want. You can't tell me what to do, right? Okay. On that level.
Listen. Bodily autonomy is just the concept of having the autonomy over what you do with your body, right?
I understand that.
Okay, so if bodily autonomy is the concept of having the autonomy over what you do with your body, if somebody stops you from using said autonomy to do something with your body, then they're infringing on your bodily autonomy. Now, infringing on somebody's bodily autonomy is not always wrong. It is not always wrong to stop people from doing what they want with their bodies. Okay? I want to clarify that. If I want to use my body to kidnap someone and the government stops me, they're infringing upon my bodily autonomy, but that is a justified infringement, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're not talking about the morality here. We're not at all. We're just talking about the fact that bodily autonomy conceptually is the autonomy of doing whatever you want with your body. And when you have pro-life legislation that prevents a woman from accessing abortion, that is infringing on their bodily autonomy, right? We're not saying for this conversation, we're not saying it's good or bad to do that. We're just saying it is a fact that they are doing that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now that you've agreed that preventing a woman from accessing abortion is infringing on her bodily autonomy, and you've agreed that there's no good reason to infringe upon the bodily autonomy of a woman like this prior to viability by denying them access to abortion, and you agreed that infringing upon somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason is a human rights violation, and you agreed that human rights violations should be protected against at the federal level, you therefore would agree that therefore women and girls' right to access abortion should be protected at the federal level. There's the argument. Get cooked.
No, nice try. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. But I appreciate giving a platform to talk about it.
Can you tell me what the issue was with that argument?
What the issue was with your argument?
Yeah.
My issue was the framework around bodily autonomy and being a philosophical, we agreed that denying access to bodily autonomy is not always wrong, such as i.e. children drinking. They even raised the level to 21.
Dude, do I need to literally write the argument out for you because you can't track?
So now you're insulting me again.
Oh,
you lose an argument when you go down to these insulting people. You've insulted me several times on this app.
But that actually
it's really terrible
that
for you.
That wasn't
honestly.
an insult. That was a fact. Okay, everyone that is watching the live right now, tell me if you could track this argument, because I want to make sure that I'm not being overly complicated and that it is not my fault. Okay.
It's not my fault that you are saying that I'm dumb, that you told me to shut up.
First premise, infringing on somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason is a human rights violation. She accepted that. Second premise, restricting women's access from abortion is infringing on their bodily autonomy. She accepted that. Third premise, there is no good reason to restrict a woman's access to abortion prior to viability. She accepted that. First conclusion, it is therefore a human rights violation to stop a woman from accessing abortion due to the fact that it is an infringement upon their bodily autonomy without any good reason. Second argument, first premise, human rights should be protected by the federal government. Second premise, which would be the conclusion of the first argument, it is a human rights violation to stop women from accessing abortion. Second and final conclusion, women's access to abortion should be protected at the federal level. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone? It does. Okay. So why does that make sense to everyone but you?
It makes sense to me, but I disagree.
Okay,
especially with the third
premise
point.
do you reject? Because remember, if all the premises are true and the conclusion logically follows the premises, then therefore the conclusion is also true. So if you want to reject either of those two conclusions, the first conclusion being it is a human rights violation to stop women from accessing abortion, or the second conclusion being that women's access to abortion should be protected at the federal government, you would either have to attack one, two, or three of the three premises to get the first conclusion, or one or two of the two premises to get the second conclusion.
I disagree that
Third video.
third video. It's a joke about some kid flirted with me they just turned 18 at a graduation. And I said, who's your daddy? Like, who's your dad? I might know them. A gothic guy. And I don't know, people seem to think I'm like a pedo or something, some weird shit like that. Nasty fucks. I think you're on the wrong, excuse my language. Wrong page, guys. I'm totally against anything dealing with minors doing anything. Thank you very much. You guys are really taking that one hard and trying to defame people and be really just...
I think we're just going to move on to the next guess. Hop in the queue if you're an American adult that supports Trump as president. What the Gare Bear. Gare Bear, I appreciate you for the ASMR mukbang TikTok gif. What a weird sound that gif makes. Guys, I'm losing my mind. I don't know if I have the ability to do like a full 4 hours. Because like I'm constructing perfectly valid arguments and then they just can't track them at all. Somebody in the YouTube chat says I look defeated. I feel defeated. Attack on Pony, I appreciate you for the $10 in super chat. Thank you so much. As well as, oh my God.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man? Do you support Trump?
No, I actually don't support Trump.
I gotta kick you. I gotta kick you. Only hop in that queue if you're an American adult that supports Trump. But yo, Vittoria. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Vittoria. Thank you so much for the $100 donation over on Venmo. Holy fuck, Vittoria. That is so very kind of you. Thank you so much for your kindness. Victoria with $100 says, as a non-white Latina, I'm choosing to leave the U.S. after 7 years, an undergrad and master's degree and a job, as I no longer feel safe, even though all my papers are in order. Hoping to get back someday. Thank you for all that you do. Wishing you the best as always. Never give up. Victoria. One last time, I'd just like to thank you for the $100. That is an insanely generous donation. Thank you so much. Please show some love to Victoria in the chat for that. But to respond to your message, I'm so sorry that the country has failed you and millions of others to the extent of literally not making you feel safe in your country. Pushing you to the point of literally having to leave. I really hope that in another 2 or 4 years, right, we get America back on track and that's no longer the case. And I'm so sorry that you find yourself in the situation you are, not because of your own fault, but rather because of the fault of the administration running our country today from DC. Thank you for the $100, Victoria. All the love to you. All the best wishes in the world. Thank you so much for being here. What's up, Skippy? Do you support Trump?
Hey, thank you for what you're doing. You can go ahead and kick me. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to say.
No worries, man. I appreciate you for that, Skippy. Show some love to Victoria while we're trying to get that next Trump supporter loaded into the live. We got Dragonfire loading up, as well as Christy. Thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you, Christy. Let's show some love to Christy, too. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. With the $25, Christy says, why did you change your TikTok handle to DNC Dean? Well, I actually didn't change the TikTok handle. This is just my second account. Right now, I'm live banned on the main. What's up, Dragonfire? Are you MAGA? Okay, we're going to go to get that next guest loaded up in here. Everyone do be patient while we try to get them connected, guys. We are just looking for another Trump supporter. For everyone hanging out with us in here for the day, just make sure that we're double tapping. As well as Claire, thank you for the $25 over on Venmo as well. This was from 30 minutes ago. Thank you so much, Claire. Claire with the $25 says, thank you for everything that you do. There's so many people that need to be educated, and I love that you help them do that. Thank you, Claire. I love what we do here just so much. It's literally, I love my job so much, Claire. Thank you for the $25. As well as Nathan, thank you for the $5 and that you got a new kitty, and you named him solely for for short. Dude, I hope you love Sully. Amanda, thank you for the $10 as well. Thank you so much, Amanda. Jeanette with a 10 and Summer with a 10. Show some love to Summer, Jeanette, and Amanda down below in that chat. Thank you, you guys, so much. As well as Aubrey with a $5 on Venmo. Thank you. What's up? Do you support Trump?
No, I do not. But before you kick me, can I tell you the
Unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and remove you just because we are looking to only talk to Trump supporters. You have a good one, though. Moving on to the next guest. We got Anna Hawk loading up into the queue. Here we go, folks. Only hop in that queue if you're MAGA. As well as Shirley. Thank you so much for the $25 over on PayPal. Shirley says the etymology she gave for the word woman, meaning womb man, is inaccurate but hilarious. Yeah, doesn't woman come from whiff? And whiff was Old Latin for wife. I'm pretty sure, but I could be totally wrong on the etymology as well. Thank you for the $25, Shirley. Show some love to Shirley down below in that comment section. Moving on to the next guest. Or wait, actually, wasn't like woman like a combination of whiff and man, like man's wife? I'm pretty sure that's the etymology. Correct me if I'm wrong. What's up? Do you support Trump? Okay, Megan's not here. Guys, go ahead and put a Trump with your age down below in that comment section. I'll happily get you loaded up in here. Go ahead and put a Trump with your age down below in that comment section. We'll get you loaded up in here. Right now, we have over 10,000 people watching the live, but for whatever goddamn reason, I cannot find a single soul that is an American adult that supports Trump as president to come up here and have a conversation with us. And by the way, if you want to support me, you can find that Venmo and PayPal in the link tree in the bio, guys. I get 100% of the proceeds over there. They go straight to me. You could also find that in the pin message on that YouTube stream. What's up? Are you MAGA? Isabel's not here. We literally only have bots. Moving on to the next guest. In the meantime, yo, Sadie, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. Holy shit, Sadie. Thank you. Sadie with the $50 says, thanks for continuing to educate. Sadie, that is so fucking kind of you. Seriously, I really appreciate you for the $50. That is a shit ton of money. Show some love to Sadie down below, and I appreciate your kind words as well. I love what we do here. You know, it's fun. It changes minds, but more importantly, it's educate. It is educational to so many individuals that need it. Thank you so much for the $50, Sadie. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. We're just trying to find a Trump supporter right now. We can't find any. They're kind of running scared. So listen, if you are a Trump supporter that isn't absolutely terrified and you are an American adult, hop in that queue. We're going to get you loaded up in here. Moving on to the next guest. We got Best Joshi loaded up, actually. He's not in here yet. Do give us a minute. You guys. What is up? Do you support Trump? Annie, you MAGA?
No, but my stepdad is.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to remove you, Annie. We are just looking to talk to people that are MAGA. Please follow the rules. I just want to make myself clear. I'm actually going to go ahead and throw them up on screen. If you're in the guest request, take a good look at the screen. If you are not following these rules, please leave the guest request. I beg you. What's up? Do you support Trump? Sarah, are you MAGA?
Yes.
Okay, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born in?
2007.
And what time is it?
3 o'clock.
What state are you in?
Kentucky.
Is Kentucky CST?
Huh?
Is Kentucky CST, chat? Nope, you lied. Goodbye. Like, I just don't understand. Please follow them. Please follow the rules. Like, please, they're like right there in front of you. Don't break the rules. Like, I'm literally begging you. Please, bruh. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Hello.
It's a kid. Goodbye. Moving on to Jaden. Look at the rules if you want to join. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, no. Half of Kentucky is in CST. Oh, God. No. Okay. What was her name? I forget her name. But to that last guess, feel free to get back in the queue. Sarah. Sarah was her name. Sarah, if I see you in the queue, I'll get you up. Child, get out of here. I don't know why, like, you guys can't follow the rules. Please, bruh, just please. We're just looking to talk to American adults that support Trump. Sarah, if you hop back in that queue, we'll get you loaded up here. Scott said, Dean, you are too quick to judge. I don't think I was too quick to judge. She said it was 3 and that she was in Kentucky. I asked the chat, is Kentucky CST or EST? A good portion of the chat that lives in Kentucky, particularly on the EST side, said no, so I kicked her. It just so happened that Kentucky is one of the small amount of states that is split down the middle. I wouldn't say that blame falls on me being too quick to judge, but just on like the one or more so like the 1 out of 10 offsuit chance that she's in a state that's split down the middle. What's up? Do you support Trump, Tulene?
I do, but lately I don't support him that much as before.
Okay, so like knowing everything that you do now, if you could teleport back to November, would you still vote for him?
I still think he would be better than Kamala.
Okay.
But
So yeah, so why would you still support him as president?
I half support him now.
What?
I'm half supporting him now.
Okay, well, so why do you still support him as president?
I support him on the borders, on maybe some. No, I'm okay for LGBTQ plus everything, but not for kids, for example. You know, not that we don't need to teach him that at school.
Okay.
Kids should be something like we should like really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you just mind if I ask you, like, just real quick, what time is it?
What time is it?
Yeah. I think that she's leaving. Oh, welcome back.
Arizona.
Yeah. Hi. What time is it?
1:19.
1:19. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your accent, by the way. I asked you because of that. But yeah, no, that's an American time zone. Go ahead. So, what particularly about the border do you support about Donald Trump and his presidency?
I'm not really against other cultures, but there's some cultures that I studied, like Islam or stuff like that. That I'm not really. I'm somebody that is respectful about other cultures, but there's some things that I'm not really okay.
You don't think
with.
that Muslim immigrants should be able to come into this country? Why?
No, they can come to this country, but they need to become at least half American, or they should
Wait. There's not a distinguishment between being Muslim and being American. You can be a Muslim American.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm talking about
those aren't two separate categories.
New people that are coming, that are fluing in.
I have no clue what your argument is. Do you mind like repeating it in like a way that makes more sense? So you said something about like not liking the culture of others. You brought up Muslims, and then I was like, so why don't you think Muslims should be able to come into America? And then you're like, well, you're actually okay with it if they're American. And then I'm like, what? And then you're like, well, they just have to be American. And I'm like, what? Could you just like try to give the argument again in a way that I could understand?
Yeah, they have to, as in Rome, do like Romans. You know the thing in the Roman Empire? In Rome, act like Romans.
I don't know. I have no.
No, you don't know.
I don't know.
So like in the United States, act like Americans.
So you're saying that Muslims don't act like Americans?
So most of them do, but there's a little portion maybe that they don't do that.
What does that even mean? How does a little portion of Muslim immigrants not quote unquote act like Americans? What does that even mean?
I don't know how to explain this.
No worries. I'm just going to go and move on to the next guest because you can't explain it. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up in here. Hop in that queue if you support Trump. We'll get you connected. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you support Trump as president. We're going to find another guest right now. We got the next guest, William, loading up into the box. Here we go, folks. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Oh, hello? Is it me?
Yeah, do you support Trump?
Oh, yeah, I do.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 20, 2005.
What month?
September.
What day?
Last week.
Last week?
19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, happy late birthday, man. Before we continue, there's a couple people that I'd like to thank you. First and foremost, Blake, thank you so much for the $20 over on Vimeo, bro. Holy shit, it's good to see you again, my friend. Blake with the $20 says to my favorite YouTuber / streamer, wish you nothing but the best, man. Bro, Blake, you are always hanging out with us, man. I wish you nothing but the best as well. Thank you for the $20. Let's get 200 Blake W's down below in that chat, as well as Erica. Thank you for the $20 as well. Erica with the $20 says, thank you for hanging in there, Dean. We love you and appreciate you and all the kindness and knowledge that you share. Just very grateful for your dedication. I look forward to tuning in every day still. Erica, I love you so much. You're always here too. Blake and Erica, you are both like literally always hanging out with us. Please show some love to both Blake and Erica for their $20 donations in that chat. I'd also like to thank Kimber for the $20 as well, saying, how would you advise somebody feeling the need to act in response to the current political state? My advice to you would be to get involved. 5051. They do nationwide protests like all the time. You could definitely find some in your local area. Be up to date with like local Dims on like Facebook in your town, in your city. Get involved in local politics too. You know, that is where you can really make a material change right now. 110%. Thank you for the $20, Kimber. As well as Mariella, thank you for the $10. I appreciate that. Show some love to Kimber, Mariella, Erica, and Blake. And then one last one here. Holy fuck. Ryan, thank you so much for the $100 donation, bro. Oh my God. That is unreal. Thank you so much. I do not deserve that. Thank you so much for your generosity. Ryan with the $20 says, thank you for what you do. Thank you for keeping it classy, respectful, and mature. I try. You have a gift, and I hope that you continue to use it for all the right reasons. Thank you so much, man. That is so incredibly kind of you, Mr. Ryan. While we're hopping into this next debate here, show some fucking love to Ryan down below. Thank you so much, man. Shout out Ryan, big time. Take it away, William. Why the hell are you MAGA?
So the reason I'm supporting Trump is because I like that he is getting rid of the transgender in women's sports, you know?
Okay, all right. So you don't think that trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. Therefore, you are going to support a president that is reducing the purchasing power of 156 million Americans. You're going to support a president that has twice as many felonies as there is trans women competing in women's sports. And you're going to support a president that is openly boasted about perving on naked women as a perverted cis man, all because he was able to pass an executive order to defund institutions that allow trans women to compete in their sports, successfully kicking out 10. Okay, so first and foremost, we cannot have a debate on the topic on TikTok. I think that there is good reasons to suggest that trans women should be able to compete in women's sports, given a certain amount of HRT. However, we just can't have that conversation on TikTok because TikTok takes us down for it. It'll ban you, ban me. No one's going to be having a good time. But what I will say here is, if you don't think that trans women should be in women's sports, I'd assume that this is because you don't think that trans women are women. You think that trans women are men, which is something else I disagree with. But ultimately, are you just saying that you don't think that men should be able to be in women's spaces?
That is what I'm saying, yes.
And this is of utmost importance to you?
It is. I also, I don't really support abortion. And
before we move on to that, let me just ask you. So you said preventing men from being in women's spaces is of utmost importance to you. Would you say that like preventing perverted men from exploiting women in their private spaces would be even more important to you?
I would say that, yes. I agree with you on that.
So if there was a man that walked into the dressing rooms of naked teenagers and naked women to look at them while they were undressed unconsensually, how evil would that man be?
I would say very bad. Yeah.
If a man did this, boasted about it, then ran for office, oh, look at that. I already got to kick you.
Oh, can we talk about something else?
No, we can't, because you got flagged for hate speech. Sorry, guys. I was about to get the dunk. About to expose him for being a crazy hypocrite. I had to kick him though because he got the flag. Dude, he literally just said TRANS. Like we literally cannot even talk about that on TikTok. Isn't that outrageous? Isn't that so outrageous, you guys? So you heard how I was like telling him we can't talk about that because you'll get a flag. It'll take you down, might take me down. It did. He got taken down and I got a flag. Can't even talk about it. It is unreal. It is unreal how like TikTok works like that. It is just insane. I hate it. As well as Edward, dude, thank you so much for the 100 Canadian dollars over on Super Chat. Edward didn't leave a message, just the love. Thank you so much, man. Holy shit. As well as Elena with the $50 Super Chat, saying payday, by the way. Elena, it's good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Thank you for the $50. That is also outrageous. I appreciate you both for your generosity. Like, holy shit, you guys are being so fucking kind today. Show some love to, let's see here, Elena for the $50 Super Chat and Edward for the 100 Canadian dollars Super Chat down below. Thank you both so very much. Shout out to Elena and Edward. You guys are so very kind, and I really appreciate you both for your support. What's up? Do you support Trump, Valerie?
I do.
How old are you?
I am 28.
Okay. Can you disconnect any like AirPods, Bluetooth devices, so on and so forth? That you have connected to your phone. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and thank 3 more people. Amber, thank you for the $10 on PayPal, saying that you have the patience of a saint. Thank you so much. And then Chelsea with the $10 as well, saying thank you for single-handedly turning me into a diehard liberal. Dude, let's go, Chelsea. You're literally the reason why I do what I do. Fuck yeah. And then Marky, thank you for the $6, saying love from the Netherlands. Love to the Netherlands. I might actually be up there soon. Beautiful place. Thank you so much, Amber, Chelsea, and Marky. You guys are awesome. And go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump as president. But once again, if you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio on TikTok and in that pin message over in that YouTube stream where you could also support on Super Chat. But on Venmo and PayPal, I get 100% of the proceeds. And on TikTok and YT Super Chat, I maybe get 33 to 60. But anyways, take it away. Why are you MAGA?
Yeah. I honestly just support the Republican Party. I have a hard time supporting the Democratic Party in general. But I support, I guess, Trump because he's a Republican. I thought he was a better choice. Because I'm pro-life. I am pro-Second Amendment. I believe there's 2 genders. I know that I cannot get, I won't talk about
we can't talk about trans individuals. I'm gonna nope. Don't talk about it at all.
I didn't. No. I wasn't even gonna say it, man. I wasn't even gonna say it. But yeah. So I mean, those are like the big ones that are on the top of my head.
Okay. Gare Bear, thank you so much for the Interstellar. Holy shit, that is so fucking kind of you. Gare Bear, you're crazy. You're wild, bro. Thank you for the love. As well as Lainey, thank you so much for the $10 over on Super Chat, saying thank you for everything that you do. I know it gets frustrating, but your work is important, so don't stop educating people. Thank you so much. Let's get 100 Lainey W's down below. And to you, let's go ahead and start with the first 2 things. You said pro-life and pro-2A. If you care about gun rights, you shouldn't support Trump at all.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think I can definitely hear you out, but I'll tell you why I think that's not true too.
Well, because in his first administration, he passed 1 piece of gun legislation, and then SCOTUS ruled it as unconstitutional. So the 1 piece of gun legislation he passed infringed upon your Second Amendment rights. And so far in his second term, he has directed the Justice Department to attempt to find a way to ban gun ownership for T Americans. And that is such a blatant infringement upon the foundation of the Second Amendment. Now, even the far right NRA has been publicly speaking out against the Trump administration, saying that they absolutely cannot do it.
Yeah, I've heard you give that argument before about the T community, but I think that they're mentally ill, and so I understand why you banned that for them.
Okay. Oh, okay. You're wrong. So I have a question. What did you go to school for if you went to school?
I have a master's of social work. I'm a licensed therapist.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy, right? I diagnose it all the time.
Okay. Well, you as a licensed therapist, a social worker that apparently makes these diagnoses, can you point me towards a single reputable institution of medicine or science that agrees with your claim that being that we cannot say because of TikTok TOS is a mental illness?
Right. So if you actually look in the DSM, the diagnostic manual for literally all psychologists, everything down the board, mental health, it literally has in the diagnosis a gender dysphoria, which is a part of that.
Did you know that gender dysphoria is not the same thing as being trans? So in the same way that a fever can be a common byproduct or symptom of an illness, right? The fever is not synonymous to the illness. And in the same way, although many trans individuals can experience gender dysphoria, it is not the case that gender dysphoria is equivalent to that of being trans, but rather a common byproduct of having a disalignment of your gender identity and phenotypical sex traits. In fact, the American Psychiatric Association, which creates the DSM, is explicit about how being trans is not an ML, which we're going to use for mental illness because I need to make my words obfuscated so I don't get banned. In fact, that is the consensus amongst institutions of medicine and science across the world. For instance, the World Health Organization, the American Psychiatric Association, once again, the American Medical Association, the Endocrine Society, the British Psychological Society, the Royal College of Psychiatrics, the Canadian Psychological Association, the Australian Psychological Society, the European Society for Sexual Medicine, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Counseling Association, and the American Public Health Association all say that being T is not a mental illness. Additionally, I think that in many scenarios, mental illness can be a red flag for wanting to do deeper background checks on an individual if they want to buy a gun, right? However, because the mental illness of gender dysphoria shouldn't be allowed to buy a gun. In fact, we see that trans individuals are less likely to engage in mass shootings than cis individuals.
Is not the same as gender dysphoria. Why is that? What is a trans person? Well,
And I'm very disheartened by the fact that TikTok will not allow me to do that.
yeah, no worries. Well, if you want to, I support them. Yes, the Second Amendment. You said that Trump took away that right. I think the Democratic Party takes away a lot more rights for gun owners. Kamala, was talking about, she was talking about, in the beginning banning assault rifles, but then took it back or something of that sort. They were talking about mandatory buybacks, whatever. She took it back. She stepped back from it a little bit, and that's cool. But they're still wanting to take away certain firearms from people, and I just don't really agree with that. If you are a mentally sane person, I believe you should be able to carry a gun however you would like.
Would you say that if you grape somebody, you're not a mentally sane person?
Grape? Are you talking about like Trump and sexual assault?
That's crazy. That the very first person you associate with rape is the president. That is insane. That's insane. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I knew exactly where you were going to go with. That's why. I'm just skipping.
That's nuts.
Your point was
Can you answer my question? Would you say that like if you like grape and SA people, you're obviously not mentally sane?
So when it comes to that, you're talking about like, okay, if you committed a crime, et cetera, should you own a gun? If you sexually assaulted somebody, raped somebody.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. All that I'm asking you, it's simple, Miss Therapist, is if you grape or SA people, are you mentally sane? I would say no.
Let's say if you in the United States, if you have a felony, you cannot own a firearm.
That's not what I asked. I'm cutting you off because that's not what I asked. It is crazy that you're so quick to jump to your conviction about T individuals not being sane, but then as soon as it comes to literal rapists, all of a sudden you can't answer the question straight.
Okay,
that is just so obviously a bold-faced, clear example of bigotry and hate, and I hope that everyone can see it. You know, like even if you're watching this live and you're on the right, you don't think that like the gender identity of T individuals is valid. I think everyone with like common sense could listen to this guest here say with bold conviction that you are not sane if you're T, but then fail to answer the question if you're not sane if you're literally a serial rapist as anything but obvious hate and bigotry. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and re-ask you the question very clearly. I want to clarify on it. Can we agree that if you're graping people, if you're SAing people, you're obviously not mentally sane?
Okay, let me walk it back because when you said grape, I had no idea. I thought you were talking about like groping somebody, like sexual assault or something or whatever. But when you say grape, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So if somebody does that, then absolutely, yeah, they're mentally insane and they're committed a crime that they should never be able to carry a gun.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, the court determined that Donald Trump was guilty of grape. So you're telling me that Donald Trump shouldn't be able to own a gun, but he should be able to be president and have access to the nuclear codes?
Did he actually get? Because everything that I've seen, I didn't see court orders or court things that he actually was charged with anything of that sort. There were allegations for it.
Oh, don't worry. You haven't seen them? Well, now you're going to see them. Right. Give me a second. Now, so here's going to be the jury verdict form from the unanimous jury of 9 in the civil court case, Trump v. E. Jean Carroll. Obviously, I'm going to have some explaining to do. I'm going to ask you to take a look at question number 1 and question number 2. The unanimous 9 jurors agreed to this. So, firstly, the unanimous jury of 9 agreed that Donald Trump did not rape E. Jean Carroll, which would be question number 1. And then secondly, the unanimous jury of 9 agreed that Donald Trump did sexually abuse E. Jean Carroll. So let's talk about the act that they all found him guilty of for question number 2, which would be sexual abuse, which was him taking his fingers and forcefully penetrating E. Jean Carroll's female member unconsensually, right? And the reason why they selected no on question number 1, asking about grape, was because at the time, the state of New York defined grape as the penetration of the female member with a male member. And if it wasn't the penetration of the female member with a male member, such as penetration of the female member with fingers, it wasn't grape in the state of New York. Can we agree that under both of our definitions of grape, it is grape to forcefully insert your fingers into a woman's female member unconsensually?
I believe when you have grape, technically, legally standing, that is penis into vagina.
Okay,
but
you're wrong. 34
I
states, including New York, disagree. They revised and redefined to include what is considered like digital grape, which would be grape using your digits or fingers. So legally speaking, you're wrong. But also, we shouldn't define grape based upon what the law says. We should define it colloquially, and hopefully our colloquial interpretations of what grape means informs what the law should be.
Okay, so I think we're getting off the topic of, okay, so we can say that Donald Trump was he could have sexually assaulted somebody. If he was convicted of a felony, then yes, he shouldn't own a firearm. But my nervousness of the Democratic Party is when they want to take people's guns away.
We're not done with this yet. So now I'm just clarifying that you do accept that Donald Trump was found guilty of grape.
I saw on the forum number 2 where it says that he sexually abused somebody. If he says the yes to that, or if he admitted to that, or if he was found of that, then yes, he sexually abused somebody. Sexual abuse. I'm not going to say yes or no. He graped somebody.
Okay,
I don't know.
So this is why we need a little bit further dialogue. Can we agree that grape would include the penetration of forcefully and unconsensually of a woman's female member with a man's fingers? Can we agree?
Dude, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Show me where it says that in law, where it says if it's somebody's fingers. I mean, it's like such a specific little word here of like the fingers versus somebody's penis, because I'm pretty sure a woman can't like rape another woman. It's just called sexual assault. It's just called sexual assault.
Can
you look that up?
Wait. So
look up the definition of.
So you don't think that grape occurs in women's prisons?
No, I think that if a man were to do that to a woman, I'm trying to look up the act.
Wait,
like,
so you said that you're a social worker, right?
Absolutely.
So if a little girl, if a little girl came to you and she said she was raped by one of her teachers in school that was a woman, right? You would tell her that she wasn't?
Oh, absolutely. I would not go and tell her, hey, that's not true. You weren't this. I would, obviously, that's a horrible thing for her to be.
But you would think that it was untrue? But if she told you that she was raped, in your head, you would say that's not true.
Look up the definition of grape. Of what that is. Let's just say for
I think that you're confusing like how we define words. We don't define words based upon what the law says. We don't use the law to tell us what grape is. We tell the law what grape is, not the other way around.
If a little girl came to me and she told me that she was raped by another woman, her teacher, I would obviously A, report that, B, talk to her about that, and that would be a huge piece of trauma for her. I couldn't even imagine that. If in legally standing.
How do you define grape?
What I define grape is a penis into a vagina, like forcefully or without.
Okay, all right.
Without consent.
So yeah, once again, so point number 1, you don't think that women can grape each other, which is a very obvious reason why you should redefine grape. And point number 2, I didn't want to go here because I think that this can be incredibly dark and triggering, but this needs to be said, because this is a really good reason why we shouldn't define grape in the way that you're using the term. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go here. I'm just going to try to be as like PC as possible and talk about something that is incredibly dark, tormented, and wrong. But one of the most compelling reasons why we should define grape to include more things than just the penetration of the female member with a male member is because of the grape of incredibly small children. What we often see in circumstances of the grape of newborns, which is so sick and twisted, it is literally like hurting me to even talk about it, is not with the male member, but rather with fingers, because they can't even get the male member to fit. I hate saying that. I hate saying that, but that is a fact of reality. Okay,
Do I agree
and
that
that
the
is it is
definition
just
should be
such that is
changed?
what just that is one of the God. It's just so hard for me to even say that. Oh God,
I think
I
the
hate saying that.
definition,
But that
the
is just
definition
one
should be
of the
changed. You're
one
right.
of
It
the
could be
really many
tweaked.
reasons to not merely define grape as the penetration of a female member with a male member, but rather to include the penetration of the female member with any object.
Okay. I think that the definition should be tweaked. I absolutely agree.
Okay.
I think on paper, legally standing, it is how it is. And
So now you agree that you define grape to include the penetration of the female member with any object, including fingers.
I think it could be changed.
No, we're not talking about changing the legal definition. We're talking about how you define it.
I define it how the law is written it. I mean, technically written standing. You can't make up metaphorical things and then say, oh well, Trump was this, so he must have had done this, because we feel like that's the definition.
How many
How
enslaved black people were raped during slavery? Because according to the way that you define grape, there was none. Because during the time, there was not a single legal standard to suggest that unconsensual intercourse with enslaved individuals was grape.
Repeat that last part.
How many enslaved black people were raped during American slavery? Because according to your suggestion that we should just merely define it based upon the law, there was no enslaved individuals that were raped during American slavery, as there was not a single law at any point during American slavery to define grape to include the unconsensual intercourse with enslaved individuals.
That's you have a good point. I absolutely see where you're coming from with that, and you've changed my mind on it. And honestly, if Trump did that, then he shouldn't own a gun. I think I saw somebody in the chat that he technically is not allowed to own a gun.
Right. And I just want to clarify. I hope that I've changed your mind on this, because we shouldn't say that we define words how the law defines words. Because if we define words how the law defines the words, then the law will never change. Like, imagine that we're leaving American slavery and everyone thought just like you that we only define grape how the law does. Then why would the law ever change to include other things as grape if it is self-actualizing as valid and accurate? Right?
Right.
Because you're saying that it's a self-defining standard of accuracy insofar as what grape is or isn't, meaning that it would never have to change as it is a self-defining standard of accuracy. Obviously, that's not true. It's not a self-defining standard of accuracy. So what is the standard of accuracy? The way that the people think the word would best be used to define to an umbrella of actions, right? So in other words, the defining standard of accuracy of what grape is or isn't the law, but it's rather us, right? And we engage in discord like this to determine what the best fit usage of the word would be. And if we come to a different conclusion than the law, the conclusion isn't that we're wrong and the law's right. It's rather that we're right and the law's wrong. Therefore, we need to change the law to be more benevolent and in better servants to the people.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. I see where you're coming from on that. I still don't want the government taking any of my guns away.
Well,
I don't want
just listen. So now that you see where I'm coming from on that, now can we finally agree that the way we define grape would include the forceful, non-consensual penetration of the female member with any object, including a man's fingers?
I think the definition should be changed. Absolutely.
Can you just affirm or deny what I just said? Can we agree with that? Yes or no?
I don't know if there is a yes or no to that. Technically, legally on paper, it is not that. Do I think that you could redefine it as that? Yes. Do I think...
I'm muting you now for maybe 25 to 30 seconds while I read off donos and I just take a second to calm down, because I just gave you such an accurate, nuanced description on why that statement is incorrect. You ignore it all and you go right back to the note cards. Honestly, you know what I'm doing? I'm considering hiring a writer, a transcriptor, to sit on this live with me and every guest. So the moment a guest reverts back to what they were originally saying after I give them a long-winded explanation on why they are wrong, I could just say, transcriptor, please go back to the transcript and repeat exactly what I said to explain how they're wrong, and I've already proved it. I honestly think I might do that. I think that would be a good use of my funds. But once again, I'm just now going to repeat this, and I want you to sit on it while I think a couple denders. It'll take me, I just have a couple to think. The law doesn't tell us what we think. What we think tells the law what it should be. You cannot say, well, I understand where you're coming from, Dean, but technically the law disagrees. I'm asking you about how you feel and how you define grape. And I just gave you a great explanation on why you shouldn't define grape based upon what the law says or doesn't say, because we shouldn't treat the law as a self-affirming standard of accuracy. Okay? Now, let me thank a couple people. Opal! Thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get 200 Opal W's down below. Opal with the $20 says, and people wonder why SA is so underreported. Dude, yeah, this lady's a social worker. That's so scary. It just scares the fuck out of me. Thank you for the $20, Opal. That is incredibly kind of you. Let's get 200 Opals once again. I really do appreciate you for that, as well as your message is incredibly accurate. As well as Brian, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo, saying, still waiting for my shirt that says get pushed. Keep slamming the MAGA bud. Love your work. Appreciate you for that love, Brian. Show some love to Brian down below. As well as Blake with $5. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the love. Yeah, and I agree with your message there, Blake. As well as Jacob with the $10 saying, worst therapist ever. Appreciate you for the $10, Jacob. Catherine with the $5. Thank you so much. Ray with the $10 saying that RFK and the Trump admin are now going after abortion pills. Bro, they better not touch that shit, dude. I swear to God. Dude, they're just so, oh my God, they piss me off. As well as Maisie with the $7. Thank you so much. And Jack with the $5. Thank you. Garrett with the 5. Kazu with the 5. Jasmine with the 1. And Rosaria with the $15 on Venmo saying, keep up the good fight. Thank you so much. And Tori with the $20. Thank you so much, Tori. Tori says, trying to convince my parents to debate you. Dude, get him up here. I'd love to talk to him. As well as Lainey with a 10 and Tori with a 5. Thank you guys so much for all the love over on Venmo. I would also like to thank Jimma for the 50 cents. Thank you so much for the love. Then Dom, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Amanda with the 10 saying, love you so much, Dean. Thank you for speaking out about these things that are important. Thank you so much, Amanda. And then Mary, thank you so much for the $100 over on PayPal. I have a cut on my lip, so it literally hurts to smile. But Mary, thank you so much for the $100. Dude, that is ridiculous. That is so generous of you. Thank you so much. Let's get 1,000 Mary W's down below in the comment section. Fuck, now my mouth hurts because I smiled and the cut is stretching. Ow. Thank you so much, Mary. Let's get 1,000 Mary W's down below. That is seriously so kind and generous of you. Thank you so much a billion times over. As well as Hayes with the $15. Saying, as a social worker and a survivor of SA, I'm disheartened that a fellow social worker defines grape in a different way and is acting in this manner. Point number 1, I'm sorry they had to go through that, Hayes. And point number 2, I absolutely understand why you're disheartened. I am too. As well as Sasha, thank you for the $10, saying please remind her that New York changed the law to include it, but also a man can't grape a man and a woman can't grape a woman. Just completely insane. As well as Elaine, thank you so much for the $50 donation over on PayPal. Thank you so much, Elaine. That is Eliane. Show some love to Elaine. Thank you. Elaine with the $50 says, I am non-binary and I appreciate you being very respectful and accurate with your language. Also, low-key scared of Miss Therapist. Yeah, you shouldn't be scared of therapists. That's a reason why she shouldn't be a therapist, low-key. Thank you for the $50 and I appreciate you for being here. As well, Sebastian, thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal, saying thank you for doing what you do. Greetings from Germany. Love to Germany. Thank you for the $20. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone so much for their kindness. If you want to support me, support the stream, support what we do here, you could actually find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over there. You could attach a message and I'll even read it off. Now, I'd also like to thank Elenia. Thank you so much for the $20 in Super Chat, saying, and I quote, the penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim, end quote, is the definition of grape per the Department of Justice. So actually, the guest is wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, so if the law has been changed since the last time that I've seen it, then absolutely, then go for it. That wasn't my main point of why I'm pro Second Amendment. I am not going to let you defame me of my job. I am an amazing therapist, and I've been doing it for many years. I love every single person that I meet, and I do everything that I can to help everybody that I'm with. So I'm just gonna put you right down there.
I didn't defame you. The legal definition of defame is not speaking negatively about somebody or their being. Rather, the legal definition of defame is to spew misinformation about an individual that leads to material harm or impact on their income. And because you're all about legal definitions, I would suggest that you uphold that standard in the context of your claim about me defaming you.
Yeah, no, literally what I did to come on here is to tell you that I support Trump because I'm pro Second Amendment, I'm pro life, and I believe that there's two genders. I mean, you wanted to go the whole grape route and everything else.
Can I tell you why?
Sure, that's the biggest thing that any Democrat has on Trump. It's the pretty much the top 10 of anything y'all have, and everything else following it really has no real context to it or real anything to do with.
Okay, so now that you've seemingly accepted that Donald Trump is a rapist, here's the conclusion. Earlier, we agreed that rapists are not mentally sane, meaning that rapists should not be able to own and buy firearms, meaning that you don't think Trump should be able to buy a gun, but he should have access to the nuclear codes. Isn't that incredibly contradictory and hypocritical?
That's a really good question. My thing is I if in that scenario, I will say this, you do have me there, Dean, in terms of that. Let me ask you this, in terms of the nuclear weapons and stuff like that, is there not somebody that is also overpowered than him? Is he just able to just go click that button however holly jolly he wants? And I guess the
nuclear football. Yes. The president has the sole ability to launch nukes.
You're going to have to let me go because I've got flagged.
I don't see anything on my end.
Yeah, I just got a thing for hate speech, apparently. I don't know what I said.
Well, because it didn't show up on my end, you don't have to leave.
Okay, well, yeah, holly jolly with the... Sorry, I got the notification. So what did you say?
Yeah, I said it's incredibly insane and hypocritical to suggest that Donald Trump should be able to buy a gun, but he should have access to the nuclear codes. And yes, the president has a nuclear football and the codes as they get to launch them. Additionally, something else I'd like to bring up is you said the biggest thing Democrats have on the president is that he's a literal rapist. That is a really big thing. That is a huge thing.
Okay, let me backtrack. Let me ask you this, Dean. Why would you support the Democratic Party for the Second Amendment unless you don't believe in the Second Amendment?
No. So I am actually not super far left on guns. My position is I think that individuals that aren't going to do anything bad with a gun should be able to own them. I'm becoming increasingly convinced of an AR ban, which may put me further to the left. I haven't been forever, but for the most part, I just support common sense gun reform. And I think that ultimately the reason why I support common sense gun reform, but still support gun ownership is for self-protection, right? I think that marginalized communities in America should have access to firearms for self-protection. I think that women in America should have access to firearms for self-protection. And every time I see an awesome, intelligent feminist talking about how women should defend themselves and buy a gun for self-protection, I'm like, hell yeah, that is totally feminism and I support it 110%. So that's why I'm I support the Second Amendment. I just also support reducing the deaths of innocent children in school and common sense gun reform. And I don't think that the Harris administration was going to infringe upon my rights as a gun owner. I am a gun owner. Kamala Harris said that she owned a Glock. She uses it for self-protection. She didn't want to take that right away. And I don't think that my rights would have been jeopardized. And I don't think that your rights to own a gun would have been jeopardized either.
Okay, how do you stop school shootings from banning ARs?
Dude, I am not an expert policymaker on how we can stop school shootings. I think that we should do whatever it takes to stop innocent children from dying in schools, but I will not act as if I am a expert policymaker that knows exactly what that fix would be at the risk of accidentally spreading harmful misinformation.
Okay, then why are you pro banning of ARs or leaning towards it?
Because I've seen really good reason to indicate that it may reduce school shootings, that it may reduce gun deaths. 100 per stabbings per 100,000 residents here, as well as every town gun research has done a lot of research on gun control in the last like 30 years in America. And what we know is that the more gun control a state has, the less gun deaths they have per 100,000 residents. But I would also like it to be known that like I don't understand how this relates to like Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. I think that Donald Trump is the only president in the last 8 years that has passed unconstitutional gun reform. And right now he is truly challenging 2A to the point where the NRA is publicly speaking out against him. And I don't think that Kamala Harris would have taken away your right to buy and own a gun.
Kamala Harris, during her campaign, was literally talking about mandatory buybacks. She scooted it back and said, never mind.
That's something she talked about, non-mandatory gun buybacks in 2019. That's not what she ran on in 2024. You're being so disingenuous.
She ran on what then? She ran on trying to get rid of assault rifles.
I don't even think that she ran on an AR ban. She did float the idea with Biden. And by the way, if that did pass, well, it would have had to be checked off by the 6-3 conservative Supreme Court. So if it was passed, signed into law, and stayed, well, then guess what? It was constitutional, and it did not infringe upon your Second Amendment rights.
Okay, what did the left do? What did Biden do? What did Kamala do when they were in office to stop gun violence?
I think literally the only thing that they did for gun control was to put a little bit more like criteria and classifications on ghost guns. And I don't think that they did enough, which is like a negative that I would name of the Biden-Harris administration. However, seemingly this would go against your argument of saying that she's a crazy communist that wants to take away all of your guns.
I don't know about specifically that. I just get nervous of the government in general doing that. I would be nervous if the Republican Party also started doing the same thing.
Do you care about the Constitution?
Absolutely.
Then you shouldn't support Trump. I mean, this whole time we've been talking about the Constitution in 2A, so I think it's time we expand our conversation here. Lil Sam721, I really appreciate you so much for the galaxy. Donald Trump does not care about the Constitution. He is an belligerently wannabe authoritarian that wants to make the rules, and he has a complete disregard for what the rules are as protected by the Constitution. In the last 8 months, he's infringed upon the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, he called for the termination of the 22nd Amendment, and he infringed upon the 14th Amendment. And if you care about the Constitution, you should never support him in a billion years for these reasons.
Okay. I'll definitely look that up. I'm not super informative on whatever else you're talking about with whatever laws he's coming out with.
Don't worry. I'll drop a truth nuke on you. He's infringed on the First Amendment by 1A, signing an executive order attempting to ban the burning of the American flag. The Supreme Court ruled in the 80s that it is expressly protected under the First Amendment's right to freedom of speech and more so symbolic speech. He's infringed upon the First Amendment by B, saying that it is literally illegal to criticize him in the media, obviously calling for a termination of free speech in America. 3, by calling news agencies such as CNN and MSNBC illegal, infringing upon or more so calling for the termination to the right of press under the First Amendment, because now he's literally calling press agencies illegal. And 4, he's infringed upon the First Amendment by calling protest and boycott illegal, so infringing upon the right to protest under the First Amendment. He's infringed on the Second Amendment and basically just called for its termination by suggesting that no trans Americans should be able to buy and own guns. Even the far-right NRA says that that's unconstitutional. He's infringed on the 14th Amendment because on day one, he signed Executive Order number 14160 into law that attempt to take the birthright citizenship away from undocumented immigrants born on American soil. However, that has been expressly codified and protected in the American Constitution since 1865 when the 14th Amendment was signed into law, and since 1897 in the U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark case when the Chief Justice of SCOTUS at the time set out clear parameters for who has and doesn't have birthright citizenship. And guess what? Those parameters suggested with certainty that undocumented immigrants born on the soil do have it. And then he called for termination of the 22nd Amendment, which says that a president cannot serve for more than 2 terms, when he said that he might want to serve for a 3rd term, and there's many ways he could get it done.
Okay. Damn, Dean. I will say this. You're good at what you do. And if he indeed did all of those things, then I absolutely don't agree with that. I do agree with withholding the Constitution. If he was talking about burning the flag as not your right, then yeah, that's kind of fucked up. I hadn't heard about that, but yeah.
Can we agree that that's just like more than enough reason to stop supporting him as president?
Dude, you fucking got me. I will say that. Props to you.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to go over?
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for listening.
Yeah, appreciate you for the conversation. You have a good one. That was a tough one. That was a tough conversation. Gizmo, thank you for the 10 pounds on Super Chat, saying that the UK has had one school shooting 30 years ago, and they changed the laws within a year. No school shootings since. Gun crime is incredibly rare. I'm an ED nurse, 10 years, and I've never seen a Gare Bear, appreciate you for that Cloud9. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Gare Bear. Thank you so much. And yeah, like honestly, my position is like I like guns. You know, I think guns are cool. You know, like many other dudes do. Woo, guns are cool, right? That's me. But I'm okay with banning guns if it means saving the lives of children. And I'm surprised that's not the position of the right. I'm surprised. I'm so surprised by that. You know what I mean? They love to talk about how much they love children and want to protect them, keep them safe, and give them a good life. And when they say that, like, they like guns, you know, like, in a sense, I get it. You know, like, oh, shooting guns, cool. I mean, like, that's just how some families are brought up. People are raised around guns. They think that they're fun to shoot, whatnot. But, like, you're not willing to sacrifice a piece of metal that you think is cool to save the lives of kids? Like, that's where I get caught up at. As well as Hammer, thank you so much for the $10 over on Super Chat. As well as I read your message there. Hammer did not like the last guess at all. Thank you so much. As well as Elena with the $20 on Super Chat, saying, I'm extremely disturbed by this woman who claims to be a social worker. As somebody who went through many social workers as a teen due to many events in my early teen years, I cannot stand the thought of them thinking this way. Yeah, that is scary as fuck. As well as Heather with the $20 saying you can't be an ethical therapist and support Trump. I'm also a therapist and licensed social worker. I hope that you don't work the LGBTQ plus IA community. Yikes, so much unethical ideas and viewpoints. Yeah, I think that like she was definitely sharing many unethical ideas and viewpoints that could definitely conflict with being an ethical social worker. As well as Lucas with the 10 pounds saying, I love how much the guest drew the line at not being allowed to burn the flag and not Trump being a convicted felon. Yeah. For everyone in the chat spamming that Trump is live, apparently he's talking about the TikTok ban. You guys want to tune in? You guys want to take a look? I'm down. Let me know in that chat. I'm down to do it. You do? You do? Okay. Bet.
There is an all-government effort to
I don't know if it's going to be too interesting.
Terrorism, to dismantle.
If it's not too interesting, we'll turn it off. If it's not too interesting, we'll turn it off.
Acts of political violence and terrorism. What we have seen, if you look at whether it be going back to the riots that started with Black Lives Matter and all the way through to the Antifa riots, the attacks on ICE officers, the doxing campaigns, and now the political assassinations, these are not lone, isolated events. This is part of an organized campaign of radical left terrorism. It is structured, it is sophisticated, it is well funded, it is well planned. There is really no parallel like this to anything else in the country right now. There is an entire system of feeder organizations that provide money, resources, weapons, and when they're attacking ICE officers, they're attacking
This is Stephen Miller.
buildings,
I hate him.
Where they're isolating public officials for harassment, doxing, intimidation, and ultimately attempted assassination. It is all carefully planned, executed, and thought through. It is terrorism on our soil. Because of this executive order, Cash and Pam are going to have the tools they need, working with Scott, to take these organizations apart piece by piece. And the central
Antifa is not an organization.
Is going to be the Joint Terrorism Task Force, or JTTF, which sits inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But for those at home who are worried about terrorism in this country, they need to understand, because of President Trump's strength, because of his vision, because of his leadership, we are now going to use the entire force of the federal government to uproot these organizations root and branch. And again, that's only possible because of President Trump and his leadership.
Thank you. Steve Cash, please.
I'm actually really curious. So they're saying that they're going to use the full strength of the Trump administration to attack domestic terrorism on U.S. soil. Why did they name like BLM riots and Antifa? Right? Like, I disagree that like Antifa is a terrorist organization. You already know that. But even assuming that they are a terrorist organization, why didn't they name like alt-right communities such as neo-Nazis parading around like North Carolina? Why aren't they a terrorist? So why are neo-Nazis not a terrorist organization, but being anti-fascist is? Why is the KKK not a terrorist organization, but being anti-fascist is?
Yes, as Steve was saying, Mr. President, thanks to your leadership, crime is going downward in a tremendous fashion, and that's what we want for every city in America. And the FBI's premier flagship enterprise, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, are honored to lead this initiative with our partners at Treasury and Homeland Security, because our citizens are being attacked by, as Stephen said, organized violence, and it's being paid for, not by them, by other people. So what we are going to do, combining forces as Scott and I have done in these last few months, is follow the money. People and organizations have collected funds and put them out into the streets of America and organized violence across our country. And thanks to your recognition of this and this executive order and the AG's leadership to lead out and prosecute these individuals, we are properly going to chase them down like the domestic terrorists that they are, and our streets and our communities are going to be safer because the JTTF and the FBI and Treasury and DHS and DOJ are going to combine forces like never before to root out this new evil that is perpetrating our criminal activities across our societies. And we are just so thankful for your leadership and recognition of it. It's not easy to do.
Good job. Thank you very much,
Who
Pam.
specifically do you want to target?
What?
Besides Antifa, is there a specific group or person you're targeting with this?
Any organized group.
Any
organized group who are committing these crimes, and we're working with the Secretary of Treasury. You know what law enforcement has told us under President Trump's leadership? He's taken the handcuffs off law enforcement. They can do their jobs now, thanks to you, President Trump, and that's what's happening. And all of these...
He's taken the handcuffs off of law enforcement and has better equipped our law enforcement agencies to do their jobs. Meanwhile, he was convicted of 34 felonies inside of a criminal court and then denied the outcome of the court, said the prosecutor should be locked up, and the judge was ultra left. What do you think that does for public support in MAGA of the criminal justice system, its efficacy, and its ability to dictate who did and didn't commit a crime? Additionally, how the hell does calling it a hostile act against the administration to vote for the full release of the Epstein files to the public, including those law enforcement officers, enable them to do their job, when inevitably it would, as it would let out all of the facts about who did what, how it was illegal, and penalizing the safety of our children through literal sex trafficking.
Agencies that Cash mentioned, we work hand in hand together. Our prosecutors were following the money with Treasury. We're working with Homeland Security. Cash's agents, all of our agents, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, combined are working, and with state and local government, to take these people off the streets who are jeopardizing lives.
Can I just illustrate this? So I was talking with Cash and Stephen about this a couple of days ago, sir. So I believe it was in Oregon where you had a federal building where there were men in black ski masks who were committing acts of violence, who were shutting down a government building. To the president's point, they don't come from nowhere. These are paid people. This is organized. They're committing acts of political terrorism on American soil. And it's time we had a government that looked out for the American people rather than the people who are committing violence against the American people.
When you go out to Portland and you see what's happening in Portland, this is like nobody's ever seen anything
fuck,
like
I
it.
just spilled
Every
water
night.
all over myself.
And this has gone on for years. They just burned the place down, and the shop owners, most of them have left, but the few shops that are open, they just use plywood and just like 3/4-inch plywood. They don't put storefronts because they know it's going to be burned down. These are professional agitators.
Right.
These are bad people, and they're paid a lot of money by rich people, some of whom we know. I'm sure I know some. I don't. If I knew, I wouldn't associate.
Do you guys want to know who truly the professional, funded, orchestrated agitators are? ICE. ICE has committed a confirmed 510 examples or instances of human rights abuse on American soil in the last 8 months, per a report from a senator from some state out east. Okay? Every day we hear about an ICE agent with a black mask over their face, just like Donald Trump's administration suggested, brandishing firearms to 4-year-olds, causing them to pee their pants, and then taking them to a detention center, not giving them a change of clothes for hours. Every day we hear, for instance, about multiple accounts of sexual abuse and rape inside of ICE detention centers, such as the 3 different lawsuits launched by 3 different people of rape against the commander of a Louisiana ICE detention center. That is organized terror from people wearing black masks, well funded by rich individuals.
because I'll be in trouble because Pam will say, why are you associating with this person? But I will tell you that these are bad people, and they're paying a lot of money, millions of dollars. But take a look at Portland sometime. These are these are crazy people, and they're trying to burn down buildings, including federal buildings. And on my list of things that I want to do before
burn down federal buildings,
we finish up with the cities, because
you
I
don't
think we're going
say.
to whip the cities back into shape, but we have to.
You burn
we
down
cannot let
federal
our
buildings?
cities, and that's a small example, but it's the most violent example. It's every night, and they've done it for years.
1 second.
You think maybe at some point they made their point
Burn
and
down
what are they
federal
doing?
buildings?
But we're going to get out there and we're going to do a pretty
Attacking
big number of
federal
those people in
buildings?
Portland that are doing that. They're professional agitators and anarchists. They're actually anarchists. Yeah. Go ahead. Why don't you defend? Let's see you defend them, Jeff.
No, I'm not defending anyone. I just want so that we can just explain this in our stories. Can you name a couple?
You don't explain it right though, Jeff. Go ahead. Let's go. Maybe let's give you another chance. Go ahead.
Antifa, Soros. What names are we talking about?
Well, Soros is a name certainly that I keep hearing. I don't know, but Soros is a name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. Maybe I hear about a guy named Reid Hoffman. Somebody, a pretty rich guy, I guess, and I hear about him. I don't know, maybe.
Reid Hoffman, that's the founder of LinkedIn. Reid Hoffman funded E. Jean Carroll's court case against Trump. E. Jean Carroll didn't have the millions of dollars to pay for very expensive lawyers for years and years and years to combat Donald Trump's very expensive lawyers inside of that criminal court, where inevitably she got him held liable for rape. So Reid Hoffman, being a goddamn American patriot, stepped in and said, hey, I'm a fucking billionaire. Let me give you some money to be able to do this. I want him held accountable. He raped you. He deserves to be held accountable for it. And now Donald Trump is saying that because Reid Hoffman helped his great victim have him held accountable by a civil court, all of a sudden, Reid Hoffman is a literal terrorist funding literal terrorists.
And maybe could be him, could be a lot of people. We hear the same names, but they're bad, and we're going to find out. And if they are funding these things, they're going to have some problems because they're agitators and they're anarchists. These are anarchists. Really bad. Okay, yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you comment on
Who you with? Who you with?
I'm with the Center Square. Sarah Roderick is my name. Sarah, there's also, as you know, Antifa is not just a domestic terror, or now a domestic terror organization. It's also international. I know the Netherlands is looking at also designating them a terror organization.
Right.
Have you been working with your intel community and your DNI to possibly expand that to making them designated
Yes,
an
we have.
international terror
Yeah, we have been. Yep. It's an international. In many cases, it is international.
Mr. On Antifa, if someone takes to the streets of America and says they're Antifa, what happens to them? What will happen to them?
Well, I'd say the maximum under the law, and we'll see. Now, if they kill somebody,
I'm Antifa. So they just asked the question, what happens if somebody takes to the streets and says that they're Antifa? What's going to happen to them? He says the maximum under the law. I'm Antifa. I'm anti-fascist. Are you anti-fascist? Are you Antifa? Are you anti-fascist?
we just signed a death penalty, so it depends where it is. But if they
Whoa! Stop saying that! Whoa! Whoa! I'm not Antifa! I'm not Antifa! I'm not Antifa! Neither are you! You're also not Antifa! None of us are Antifa! He said that. I was just a joke. He said that specifically about like murderers, I think.
somebody, which they do. I mean, people are dying. You go out to Portland, people die out there. Many people have died over the years in Portland. Portland is, I don't know how anybody lives there. It's amazing. But it's anarchy out there. And that's what they want. They want anarchy. Like when they attacked Seattle and took over a big percentage of the city. I was going to go out and we were going to do a big number. They heard that and everybody broke up all of a sudden. But, you know, you have governors that have to run that, and a lot of them don't do that. I don't like to go in. I'd rather have Pritzker's support when we go into Chicago. But if we don't have it, that's okay, too, because we're paramount, and we will do what we have to do. We're going to make Chicago safe. We're going to make we're going to make as many as we can, and usually that involves a surge. But what we did with, in the case of Chicago, by having the FBI go out there 5 or 6 months ago, we brought it down a little bit. You know, a little bit is 25%, so it's not so little. But it is when you're talking about the kind of
he's making no
crime
sense
and killings and murders that you hear.
Is this guy like coherent to anybody?
Chicago's a great city. As the Union Pacific said, the head of the Union Pacific, who's a great guy, started off as a low-rung guy. He said he started at a caboose.
What guy is he talking
about? He's
about?
the chairman of the Union Pacific, but he's a great guy. But he said, "Sir,
Why are we talking about the Union
The way he said it, I
Pacific?
said, boy, it really hit me. You know, here's a man that knows all the cities. The Union Pacific, I guess, is our largest railroad, and he knows all the cities. He's been doing it for 45 years, and he said, "Sir, don't lose Chicago."
He knows
And when
all the
said that,
cities.
meant a lot to me, and we're going to go into Chicago very soon. We're going to take care of Memphis. We're going to take care of Memphis. You can't walk a block without getting shot. We're going to take care of that one, and just like we did Washington D.C.
Dude, you can't just say that. Oh, God, you can't just say that. You can't just say that. You can't just be the president of the most powerful country on earth. Be the president of the United States of America and say, well, if you walk a block in Memphis, you're gonna get shot. You can't just do that.
See, and we're gonna do Chicago very soon. Yeah.
There could be an indictment on James Comey. Do you know if there is an indictment or Madam Attorney?
I don't know. I know it's going on because I read the papers just like you do, right? So I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that?
We can't comment on that.
Yeah.
Can you comment on a New York Times, Madam Attorney General, can you comment on a New York Times report saying that Justice Department officials have asked attorneys to target a George Soros-funded group? And is this executive order that you just signed a part of that effort?
I'm not going to comment on whether there is or is not a pending investigation, but everything's on the table right now.
I don't think anybody has to ask, because if you look at Soros, he's at the top of every. In fact, sometimes they say, could he be involved in this many things? But he's in every story that I read. Stories that I read keep talking about Soros, and so I guess he'd be a likely candidate. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God, bro, listen, guys. I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna continue to watch these on live with you guys because they're insane. They're so insane. Every single time Donald Trump hops on that mic, he drops like the most insane shit ever, and then no one talks about it, and then we just go right back to the debates with Trump supporters saying, oh, he's good for the economy. As if he didn't just say that if you walk a block in Memphis, you're gonna die from getting shot, and Tylenol causes autism, and don't vaccinate your newborns because it's too much liquid. It's diabolical. It's diabolical. Why don't, maybe that's a good question. Why will Trump supporters never talk about his press conferences from the Oval? He's been doing them a lot. And we never hear about them from Trump supporters, ever at all, because of just how insane they always are and how terrible he always makes himself look. You know what I mean? But we're going to go ahead and hop back into those debates. If you're watching and you support Trump, go ahead and hop in that queue. We're going to get you loaded up here. Evil, hate-filled female. That's their screen name. That is their screen name. I'm just reading it off as I see it. Thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. I really appreciate you for that love. Thank you so much. Show some love to Evil down below in that chat. With the $20, they said, thank you so much for teaching me, while also being entertaining. That's the purpose of the streams. I'm happy that it's working. Thank you so much, Evil. As well as Scarlett, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. Thank you so much. Holy shit, Scarlett. That is so kind of you. You are always hanging out with us in here. Seriously, thank you for the love. Scarlett says, I've been starting my social transition from M to F at the worst time in America, lol. Hopefully my ability to buy estrogen for transitioning isn't banned in the future when I start. Scarlett, I pray that you have a good experience socially transitioning and that you face no barriers to estrogen when that time comes. And I'm really hoping that the Trump administration stays the hell out of your business. Thank you so much for being here with us. You are literally always in here and supporting. I appreciate you for the love. And thank you for the $50 donation. Show some love to Scarlett down below in that chat while we're trying to get that next guest up here. If you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. I appreciate everyone for the love, but let's try to get that next Trump supporter loaded in here right now. Go ahead and put a Trump with your age down below in that comment section. If you're MAGA and you want to come up here for a debate, we'll get you loaded in and connected right away. As well as Alicia, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. Alicia says, thanks from Canada. I've been watching you for some time now. I'm a social worker and counselor. Alicia, how did you feel about that last crazy social worker? Thank you for the $20. Show some love to Alicia down below in that chat while we're still looking for that next Trump supporter. They're very scared right now. As well as Sarah, thank you so much for the $10. And Caitlin with the $10 over on PayPal. As well as Danielle. This was a while ago. This came in during our last debate. Danielle says this woman should not have a job or a license. Terrifying. With a $50 donation. Danielle, it's good to see you again. You're literally in here with us every day, and you were dead on. Thank you so much for the $50 donation. That is seriously so fucking kind. You guys have been so goddamn kind today. Thank you so much for the love. What's up? Do you support Trump? Christine is just snacking. Get the hell out of my box, Christine. Moving on to the next guest. Come on, guys. Go ahead and put a Trump with your age down below. What's up? You MAGA?
Dean. Yes, I'm MAGA.
How old are you?
I'm 18, and before you ask my birthday, July 8th, 2007.
Okay. All right.
Also, on my end, you're kind of laggy.
That's going to be your internet. I'll give it a try with your bad connection. If it doesn't work, I'm going to kick you.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, before we hop
Okay,
into
also,
the debate,
by the way, why did I see you on
work.
Grindr?
I don't think you did see me on Grindr.
I did. It showed your face on it.
I don't know.
You were on Grindr, Dean.
Stop
cheating on your
Grindr.
girlfriend.
I
You're
wasn't
such a hypocrite.
I wasn't on Grindr.
You need to calm down with the hypocrisy, Dean.
Yeah,
I can't believe you would go on Grindr looking for gay men, oiling up,
so just like
and getting butt booty naked.
Okay, so just like any dating app, Grindr is going to be regional because it's kind of how dating works. What region were you in when you saw me on Grindr? What city of what state?
Yeah, and you were on it, Dean.
What city of what state?
Why are you on Grindr?
What city of what state?
I did see you on Grindr.
What city of what state?
You live in Colorado. I live in Colorado as well.
Really? What city?
What?
What city in Colorado?
I live in Denver, bro.
Oh, great. Well, guess what?
But I go.
I live 250 miles away from Denver. Moving on to the next guest. Give us a minute to get that next Trump supporter loaded up into the box. Hop in that queue of your MAGA. We got the next guest, James, loaded up in here. Josh, thank you so much for the $20 super chat over on, sorry, not super chat, Venmo donation. Thank you for the love, Josh. That's very kind of you, man. $20. Thank you so much. Show some love to Josh down below for the 20 bomb. Josh with the $20 says, is somebody who's married to a mental therapist, who has high recognition and experience. Valerie's view, especially with her profession, is insane. We wonder how she holds her license still. Yeah, makes sense, Josh. Makes sense. Thank you for the $20. As well as Abby. Thank you so much for the $30 donation over on Venmo. I appreciate you for that love, Abby. That is so fucking kind. Let's get 300 Abby W's. Abby with a 30 bomb says, keep educating. Well, thank you so much for your kindness. I really do appreciate it. As well as Spencer with a 5, Karen with a 5, and Amanda, thank you for the 13, saying you're like my third favorite debater, but I donate the most to you because your gratitude is always so genuine and it makes my day. Well, Amanda, I appreciate you for the $13. And I'm incredibly gracious for the love that you as well as everyone else shows me. Then just one more here. Aubrey with a 5, Sarah with a 5. Thank you guys. And then Condra with a 10 saying, as always, love you tons. Love you too, Condra. Good to see ya. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes. And before you ask, don't kick me. I'm under 18. I just want to know.
I gotta kick you. Sorry, man. Rules are the rules. Those are the rules. Moving on to the next guest. Let's get the real ratty one loaded up in here. Lanny with a $5 on Super Chat saying actual leftists aren't anti-gun. If anything, we're pro-gun with common sense laws. Revolutionaries overthrow fascist regimes with guns. Actually, you're right. Yeah, if I said otherwise earlier, I was wrong. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yep.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay. Josh, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. Josh with the 20 says, don't scream my name like that. You scared me. Thanks for being you. I'm sorry. I won't scream her this time. But Josh, thank you for another $20. Show some love to Josh down below, seriously. And once again, if you do want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok and in the pinned message on that YouTube stream. Take it away. Why the hell do you support Trump?
All right, so can I say something real quick before we get into that debate?
I don't know. What do you want to say?
Just kind of addressing the other Trump supporters in this chat.
Sure.
Please, before you click the box and before you come in here, have your argument put together. Know what you're going to talk about. Don't get backed into a corner. Okay? Like, if you believe so strongly that he should be the president and you are in strong support of him, please just have some facts put together before you come in.
Have I spoken to you before?
No.
Okay. So what is your argument? What are your set of facts put together insofar as why you support Trump as president?
So my facts are more, the immigration policy is kind of my biggest thing in support of Trump.
I feel like you probably won't have the set of facts put together on the immigration policy, but let's give it a go. What about it do you like? Mass deportation?
Okay. Do you say what?
Do you like his mass deportation?
I do support the mass deportation of criminals out of the United States of America, violent criminals. I don't necessarily support mass deportation as a whole. I do believe that there should be an avenue in which the people who are here providing to the economy and adding more adding more good than they are harm should have an avenue to stay, like pay taxes, pay a fine, whatever the solution might be. But deporting violent criminals, of course, I'm in support of that.
Yeah, you don't have your facts put together, man. Can I tell you why?
Go ahead.
Because if you did, then this would actually be a reason that you don't support Trump. If you specifically support the deportation of undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses, then you wouldn't support Trump, as his rate of deporting undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses is consistently lower than the rates that we saw under the Biden-Harris administration. And you may ask yourself why, and the answer to the question why is because the Biden-Harris administration focused their deportation efforts on individuals with prior violent offenses. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, for the most part, has focused his deportation efforts on individuals without any criminal record outside of undocumented entry at all. Yes, and you may ask what my source for this would be. My source for this is Trump's Homeland Security, ICE. If you go to ice.gov/statistics, you'll be able to break down arrests and removals quarterly or monthly and select for individuals with prior violent criminal offenses on their record. In fact, I'll go ahead and show that to you now. You will see that they were incredibly high in the fiscal quarters of 2022, 2023. However, going into 2025, we see that it is the lowest it was ever under the totality of the Biden-Harris administration.
Okay.
So this would be a reason you wouldn't support him as president.
Okay, so my whole thing is, I understand it's not the correct way to do it, but Trump's whole entire idea of mass deportations is based upon the fact that you deport them regardless, because they technically, right, and by the letter of the law now, he is correct, in a technical sense, that if they entered the country illegally or undocumented, that technically they did commit a crime. It's not a violent crime, but it is a crime.
You're changing your argument.
No, I'm not changing my argument. And he is deporting violent criminals.
Yeah, but at lower rates than what Biden and Harris were.
It is lower rates, but
right, meaning that this wouldn't be a reason why you would support him as president, given that you told me that you don't support the deportation of non-violent undocumented immigrants.
And yet, at the same time, I'm telling you, I do support the fact that he is continuing to deport violent immigrants.
Yeah, but
he's
deporting undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses at lower levels than Biden and Harris were, meaning that if Kamala Harris was elected right now, we would have expected that trend of higher levels of deportations of undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses to continue on, meaning that this is actually a way that Donald Trump is failing in accordance with your values and goals.
Are those levels based upon a 4-year period or an 8-month period?
That was quarterly.
That was cool. Okay, so he's been in 1 quarter, 2 quarters?
3. Well, 2.75. 3 at the end of this month.
Okay, so as of right now, he's technically lower, yes. But at the end of the 4 years, we're going to look back and we're going to look at it, and then the argument could be made that they're going to be higher based upon the mass deportation.
Well, guess what? That's just that's a non-starter argument that you have no reason to believe. It's just merely speculatory. When we have reason to believe the opposite to be true, given the fact that a scope of deportation is not just on undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses, but rather on all undocumented immigrants. I can very reasonably explain why. There's lower levels of deportations of just undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses. It's because an overwhelming amount of the Homeland Security and ICE resources right now are being directed towards all undocumented immigrants compared to all of those resources being directed to those with prior violent offenses under the Biden-Harris administration, or at least a lot of them. Your argument has no evidence, purely speculatory, and all the evidence and reason that does exist would suggest that the trend that already exists will continue.
But at the same time, you got to also look at the flip side of immigration. Coming across the border illegally under the Biden-Harris administration was markedly higher than what it is right now under the Trump administration.
Okay.
Right? So it's almost like a supply and demand. Obviously, you're going to have more people with violent offenses to arrest with more people coming across the border.
Well, I mean, aren't the individuals that are coming across the border staying in the country?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Aren't the people that are coming across the border staying in the country?
Like right now?
It's like all the remarkably higher levels of entry into the country under the Biden-Harris administration, right? Didn't they stay in the country and they're still in the country to be removed by Trump?
As of right now, I think he's deported a couple 100,000 at this point.
So all that this tells us is it's not just about like the flow of undocumented immigrants coming into the country, but it's about the amount of undocumented immigrants that are in the country.
Okay, and that's almost kind of pivoting off of what I just said, right? It's almost like simple math, right? If 100 people came into the nation undocumented or illegally, statistics show that 1 out of that 100 would be a violent immigrant, right, or a violent offender. So you could arrest 1 person out of that 100, and then you go to 1,000 and 10,000 and 1,000,000, so on and so forth, and your number gets progressively higher. And then when you get lower entries into the country, you're going to have less people coming into the country with violent offenses violent.
But it's not just about the entries; it's about who's in.
No, I got you.
Country.
I understand, but what I'm saying is those graphs don't really look at.
Okay.
Biden.
So can you please demonstrate to me the precise amount of entries that are not coming into the country that have fallen because of the Trump administration, and how many of those entries would be undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses, and then tell me what the percentage of undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses is that Homeland Security and ICE are able to arrest and deport, to demonstrate that if we had the same levels of undocumented entry that we had under the Biden-Harris administration, we would have the same levels of deportations of undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses?
Well, those percentages are under 20. I think it's under 20% the last time I looked. It's definitely under 20% of all immigrants that come in here undocumented or illegally, that are either prior violent offenders or will commit a violent offense based on their research. I'm not sure how you predicate how someone.
So would you say what? So would you say that if Kamala Harris was elected, the country would be worse off right now?
Yes and no.
How could you possibly say yes to that question, given that they were removing undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses to a higher degree than what the Trump administration is doing today?
Well, what you asked me is if the country would be better or worse off right now, right? And
so if you don't think that deporting undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses would make the country better off, then why was this the reason why you support Trump as president?
Oh, well, if you look at Kamala Harris, right, and all of her policies and everything that she was trying to bring to the table, and then you look at, right, some of her policies I definitely agree with, right? Cool, but do you have the ability to put them into practice? Do you have the ability to bring people behind you when you just got put into the presidential race 4 months before the president was elected?
Well, I mean, she passed the most tie-breaking votes in the Senate in American history out of any vice president, and her alongside Biden passed some of the most monumental legislation in modern U.S. history, towering over everything that Donald Trump did in his first term and so far in his second. So obviously, yes, they did have an ability to pass good policy.
Okay, but would you okay, speaking of monumental policy, would you say that you are a supporter of the PACT Act?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because it invested $800 million into the expansion of VA healthcare benefits to offer new coverage to over 1 million new veterans. Are you a veteran, sir? Did you serve?
Yes.
And did you access the PACT Act and you don't think it did enough for you?
I did not access the PACT Act.
Would you say that, like, when you went to the VA, like the PACT Act, you just knew it wasn't a good bill because of your personal anecdotal experiences?
Well, my personal experiences with the VA and then looking right now at the people who are going through using the PACT Act, right? What the PACT Act really did
You've been up
on
here
paper.
before.
What's that?
You've been up here before. I thought that you were, and now I've confirmed it. Last time you came up, you gave the same argument, maybe like a week ago.
I definitely have never been in your life. I debated Parker the other day.
I think that you're lying.
I'm sorry that you
I remember
think
you.
that, but
I remember your profile picture. I remember your voice, and I remember the argument. How do you think I knew that you were a veteran? How do you think I knew that you had went to the VA?
You know that I'm a veteran because of my profile picture. I'm in an Army uniform.
I didn't look closely enough to identify that was an Army uniform.
Well, I definitely have never been in your life.
I think that you have. I hope you have a good rest of your day, man. We just talked to individuals one time. Let's go to move on to the next guest, guys, just because I know that I've talked to him before. We're going to go to get that next guest loaded up in here right now. Hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. Let's go to get Senna up here. All right, what's up? Do you support Trump? Senna. All right, Senna. Hi, are you here? It's funny how one-dimensional Trump supporters are. Trump supporters in the comment section, even though I gave him data from ICE to refute his argument, and then he like ultimately ended up conceding the position, are like, you lost because I removed him because I've talked to him before. You're so like one-dimensional. You have like one dimension of thought. It's funny. It's funny. Like they're just so like analog input. If Dean removed guests, then Dean lost. That's their analog input. It's funny as hell. What's up? Do you support Trump, Gabe?
Yo. I'm trying to figure it out, but I think so.
Okay, are you driving?
I am on CarPlay. Is that cool? I can't see you or anything.
Unfortunately, it's not. It is just TikTok TOS, man. Feel free to request up when you're not behind the wheel, and I'll happily have you up here. Just for TikTok TOS, I cannot have you up here even if you are on CarPlay. We're going to move on to the next guest. Y'all, let's go to get that next Trump supporter loaded up in. I'd also like to thank Adam for the $2 over on Venmo. Thank you for the love. As well as Lee, thank you so much for the $30 donation over on Venmo. Thank you, Lee. That is so very kind of you. Lee with the $30 says, what you do is amazing, entertaining, and highly educational for us. Thank you, Lee. And in fact, Lee, I remember you. You've donated to me before, man. You've been here for a while. Thank you for the $30. Let's get 300 Lee W's. As well as Joy with the $20. I appreciate you for the love. I'm not going to read that message out, but thank you, Joy. As well as Naughty, thank you for the $10 on Super Chat, saying hope you had a great week. You as well, Naughty. It's been a while. Hope that you're doing well. Thank you, Naughty, Joy, Lee, and Adam. If you're watching, you want to support me and what we do here, you could find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok and in the pinned message of the YouTube stream. And if you don't have Venmo or PayPal to support me over on that YouTube stream, but you still want to show some love, you also got Super Chat. Welcome in. What's going on? Do you support Trump, Matt?
I do. How are you, Dean?
I'm doing so well. So well. Karen55 sent you an invite. Love to have you up. How old are you?
I'm 19.
All right, Mr. Matt. Why the hell do you support who I believe is the worst president of your life?
I support him because I agree with a lot of I share a lot of same values as him. I just have a question for you.
Which one?
It's sort of
Which values do you share with him? Like the value of not wanting to give vaccines to newborns because it's too much liquid, or the one of saying that if you walk a block in Memphis, you'll get shot, espousing fear-mongering propaganda from the Oval Office less than 20 minutes ago?
Definitely do not support that. But I do have a question for you, if that's okay. And you can totally be like, no, Matt, that's not all right. And I understand that because I know the whole thing is about why you support Trump. But
as
I feel
long as it
more
relates to the topic, you're good.
Okay, because I have more of I feel more comfortable on like a religious aspect of anything. But I totally understand if it's like, no, it's only about
does your religion play into why you support Trump? Because then I'll talk to you about it.
A little bit, but I'd also say that Trump claims to be a Christian, and I don't believe that some of his actions do relate to him claiming to be a Christian.
Can you repeat that? I do apologize. I was reading something.
Oh, no worries. What I said was yes and no, because Trump does claim to be a Christian, but as a Christian, his values and some of his actions he does do not, even myself can agree that do not portray a Christian person.
So why do you support Trump?
Yeah, like I said, and you can totally say no to this, I was wondering if I could do more of like a religious debate, if that's all right.
Oh, no.
Okay, no worries, man. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you too. Moving on to the next guest. Like, I'll debate religion as it like would apply to like an argument for why you support Trump, but if it's just like religion debate on its own, probably not. Moving on to the next guest. What is going on? Lane Train, do you support Trump? Lane Train, hello? Nope. Lane Train's not here. Got to kick him. Moving on to the next guest. Up the hell in that queue if you happen to be a Trump supporter. Up the hell in that queue looking for some Trump supporters. Yo, dude, I'm thinking back about that first guest that said I was paid by the DNC. Does anybody in here think I'm paid by the DNC? Paid by George Soros, as Trump would have suggested in that clip of his that we just watched. Yeah, there's a lot of people that do. Y'all are crazy. No, point and laugh while we're trying to get that next Trump supporter up here. Point and laugh. Holy cow. Yo, Serenity, I appreciate you for the $2 over on PayPal just coming through now. Serenity, that's kind of you, and I hope that you're doing all right. Thank you for the love. Moving on to the next guest, guys. Go to put a Trump with your age down below in that chat. What's up, man? You MAGA, Bobby? Bobby! I'm going to need you to speak up here, my friend. You here? God, I'm stuttering so much. Jesus Christ. You know, oh my God, Jesus. Sorry. The more tired I am, the more pronounced my stutter is. You guys should see me like before I'm about to go to bed. It's like hard for me to get like a complete sentence out. It is terrible. What's up? Do you support Trump? Nope, they're gone. Holy cow. Moving on. Yo, Jordan, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. Saying keep it going, Dino. I appreciate you for that love, Jordan. Thank you so much. I never intend to stop. That is very kind of you. Show some love to Jordan down below in that comment section, folks. What's up? Do you support Trump? Bro, what is going on with all the bots? Why do we only have bots in here? Literally, like every single person that is joining is a bot. We don't want to talk to bots. Please put Trump with your age down below in that comment section if you're an American adult that supports Trump that is present. What's up, James? You MAGA?
Yes, I do support Donald Trump.
Yeehaw, brother. Victory and sacrifice. That's what your shirt says. How old are you? You're of age. Why the hell did I ask that? Are you driving? Yeah. Are you driving?
I am not driving. I am riding.
Cool. Just confirm that you're not driving. Could you have your driver say hey real quick?
Hey.
All right. Take it away. Why the hell do you support Trump?
I did support Trump.
Oh, you don't
until I listened to you. I just wanted to tell you that I respect you. I respect your opinion. Your opinions have changed my opinions. And I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, man.
James?
But yes, I 100% voted for Donald Trump, and I am 100% regretting it, not happy, and thank you.
I hope you have a great rest of your day, James. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day. I'm going to disconnect you because of the road noise. I'm going to keep talking about you for a few more seconds, though. I am so happy that the streams and what we do here has been able to change your mind. Thank you for telling me that what we do here works. Thank you, James. It means the world. And also thank you for approaching politics not like a sports game, but like something that matters, that deserves and warrants critical thought and reason. You're the man. You're the man, James. I mean that. Seriously. I do. It's going to go ahead and move on to the next guest right now. Hop in that queue of your American adult that supports Trump.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? Are you MAGA?
Hello.
Hey, do you support Trump?
Yes. No. Okay, I have one question, please. Let me turn on my fan. 1 second.
I'm sorry. If you don't support Trump, I got to kick you. Have a good one. Just looking for Trump supporters. I'm sorry, man. I'm being a little bit blunt today, but I'm a little tired, so my apologies. Yo, Nan Thomas, thank you so much for the $20 super chat on YouTube. Thank you, Thomas. Show some love to Thomas down below, as well as Brooklyn. Thank you so much for the $25.
Oh, my bad.
What's
no,
up?
I don't. I hit the button on accident.
Oh, no worries at all. Brooklyn with the $25 over on Venmo. Thank you, Brooklyn. Brooklyn with the $25 says, hating. Thank you for all that you do. You're hilarious. And honestly, before watching your lives, I've never been confident enough to speak up about politics because I felt suppressed. Now I want to go to college for it. So thank you for being inspiring, Brooklyn. Good shit. Good shit. Be outspoken. Be loud in your correct convictions. And I'm so happy that the streams have had that positive impact on you. That is awesome. As well as Jordan, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. And Joy, I'm going to call you Joy. Your name is Joy Ellie. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, so I'm just going to call you Joy. Joy, thank you for the $25 donation on PayPal. You guys have been so fucking kind today. I really appreciate every single one of you for your love and support. Like, seriously, I thank you guys. Joy with the $25 says, you're the best. Love you. I love you too, Joy. Thank you for your kindness. Show some love to Brooklyn for the 25. Joy with the 25. Thomas with the 25. I appreciate you guys. What's up? Do you support Trump? All right. We are not finding a Trump supporter with 11,000 people in here. How spooky is that? Moving on to the next person. Kid Scruffy is their name.
Hey, Dean.
Hey, you mad?
Well, I got a question for you, real quick.
Do you support Trump?
Yeah, well, I did, but I've been in your stream for about like a month now. So, but my only question is immigration, and that was a part of the reason why I supported. But I did it on another hand of like, I don't know if you heard about the guy in Florida that was a truck driver, got a CDL, got an illegal turn, yada yada yada. And I just got a question, like, you totally changed me. I was Republican all the way. I'm totally independent. I'm not gonna lie, and that's why I kind of jumped on, because that other guy said that. And I was like, you know what? I want to acknowledge that. But I do have a question for you. On a standpoint like that, with what happened in Florida, how do you feel about that? With like someone coming in with a job that someone could seriously injure somebody like that. They can't read English. They don't speak English, but they did get a responsibility to drive on the road like that. Okay. And I just kind of ask, like, what do you think about something like that? But I am totally independent now.
Couple misconceptions. First and foremost, to get a CDL license in any state, you have to be a lawful resident or citizen. You could prove that to yourself right now by literally going on Google and typing in, can undocumented immigrants obtain CDLs in any states? They say no. Okay? And to get a CDL license, you have to be able to read English and understand spoken English. The test is always in English. Both the written test and the driving test, where your instructor is giving you, I'm sorry, there's just a bit of background noise. I'm gonna mute you while I speak. Where the instructor is giving you spoken instructions, right? So that's important. Now, you're right. There was an undocumented immigrant driving a CDL truck that was not licensed that got into an accident. The best way to prevent this is to give undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship, so then they could legally obtain a CDL if they want to be a professional driver. Meaning, they'd also have to hold by all of the standards, rules, regulations, and customs of CDL drivers, such as taking the written test, taking and passing the driving test, so on and so forth. Now, I'll go ahead and allow you just to give a response to that, man. I'm happy to hear that your mind has been changing a whole lot. You just got some pretty wicked background noise.
Yeah, no, my kid, he's watching Cars too. He's addicted. But so like I said, I'm a CDL holder, and that's kind of like, that was just kind of something that hit, a little. And I was like, well, I just want to know what your input on that was, because I know the test is hard, and I know some people come over here and they do it the legal way. And some do it, like I said, undocumented, and they don't do it the legal way, whatever. And that's what it is. But I just kind of was curious on what your input was, because I took the test and I was like, shit, dude, it's difficult. I mean, I barely passed it probably. I don't even fucking know. But sorry for my language. But like I said, I was just curious on that, because like I totally have changed mine since I've watched you. And then I was like, well, I do have one question about that, because like, I don't know. That was just my little question. So,
no worries, man. Hey, man, I'm really happy to hear that you've changed your mind on a lot of things.
I appreciate you, dude.
I appreciate you too, bro. You have a good one.
Good.
We're gonna go and move on to the next guest, dude. These streams work. These streams fucking work. So many people like to talk their shit, say that the streams don't work, say that this is meaningless, and for the most part, like 90% of people that like to talk their shit there are people on the right. But there's also like some people on the left that will say that these streams don't work, and I just don't understand why. The facts are right in front of your face. Minds are being changed. And these are just the minds that are being changed that you know about. Think about everything that it would take for somebody that has had their mind changed to come up on live and publicly proclaim that. They'd have to, A, have an account with enough followers to join, B, be willing to share their personal information of their account in front of a crowd of over 10,000. And C, be willing to say that. That's kind of intimidating. You know, like we're D1 Trump haters here, and they're coming up and they got to admit that they voted for him. It's very intimidating. So I would say for every person that comes up here and admits their mind was changed, there's probably 1,000 other people out there that had their mind changed that didn't. What's up? That didn't come up here and say it. What's up? Do you support Trump?
No, but I didn't think I was going to get here. I love you, Dean.
I appreciate you, man. We are just looking for some Trump supporters. It has been around like 30 or so minutes since we had our last Trump supporter join. So at this point, I will actually ask you to only join if you are MAGA. Morgan Black in the chat says, I don't regret voting for Morgan Black. I did send you an invitation to join. I'd love to have you up here. And please go ahead and put a Trump with your age down below in that comment section. And we'll happily get you up here. And actually looks like we have Morgan loaded in. Sick. Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
I invited you. Most people request to join. I actually requested you to join. Would you be willing to talk to me about why you support Trump?
I was surprised by that. Yeah, the first time I was able to vote, I was 18, and it was his first time running. And I voted for him every time. I haven't regretted it once.
Okay, before we hop into our discussion, let me thank a couple people. Naya? I'm gonna assume that's how I pronounce your name. That is Naya. Thank you for the $20 over on Super Chat. Thank you so much for the love, Naya. Naya with the $20 says, "Hey Dean, a bit of a new viewer here. I just wanted to give this to you because I believe you're genuine and inspiration for what you do. I appreciate you for that, Naya. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you for your kind words and the $20. As well as Kate with the $10 and discovered you like 2 weeks ago. Now I'm addicted to the lives. You so eloquently expressed the facts. You're not just debating MAGA. You're giving us the tools we need to defeat misinformation on our own. Yes, bro, scream that to the choirs. That is so fucking true. I appreciate you for the love. As well as Katie with the $20 over on Venmo saying I'm a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids, one of whom is severely disabled. I'm also a Navy spouse who holds a political science degree. Thank you. Science degree. Thank you for doing the work that we are too tired to do. You make me less afraid. Katie, I'm pretty sure that you've shared that with me before. I remember you. I hope that everything's going all right for you. I appreciate you for your kind words and for your $20 donation. And yeah, thank you so much for the $20, as well as Whitney with the $20 too. You guys are being so kind. Thank you, Whitney. Whitney says, thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much for the love. As well as Adrian with the $15 saying, hey, Dean, I actually used to debate MAGA and I can't stand the blatant hypocrisy. You speak facts and me and my axolot support you. Thank you, Adrian. Show some love to Adrian down below. As well as Tori with a 5, Emily with a 5, and Caleb with a $25 on Venmo saying this is for converting that James dude and many others who are like him that no longer support Trump because of you. Keep up the great work. Thank you. That is so kind. Thank you, you guys. As well as Juliet with a 5, Sam with a 7, Chloe with a 2, and Amy with a 5 over on PayPal. Thank you, guys. Yeah, go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you still support Trump today. I just feel like he's done so many blatantly terrible things. I just find it difficult to understand why anyone would still support him as president.
Well, I felt he was more middle ground. If you look back, a lot of Democrats had said that they wish he would run for president, and I felt like he had a bit more conscience than a lot of Republicans who in the past used to be a bit more anti-gay and racist. And he's had gay weddings. He's hired some of the first gay people to be in his section. And I do think the first time he ran that he did a lot of good, but I think he was confused and I think he was trying to follow what other people were telling him. And I do think that this time around he has come way more prepared and he's hired people that he really enjoys. And I think he's one of the first Republicans that you can see where Democrats are eagerly going to him, like Tulsi Gabbard. I really enjoy her. And
if we want to use a Democrat that has shifted to being pro-Trump after being anti-Trump as a data point that he is a good president, then wouldn't Democrats who have shifted from being indifferent or slightly anti-Republican to absolutely so anti-MAGA, anti-GOP, anti-Republican be the millions of data points to represent that he's a bad president?
Oh, I mean, I'm just naming people I enjoy. I've only been into politics for, a short time. And this is just a friendly debate, right? We don't have to go and try to look for people that maybe you prefer or I prefer. You just asked my opinion. But no, I think that he is a very middle ground Republican, and I enjoy seeing it. I mean, I'm a Christian woman. I'm newly married, and I love Charlie Kirk. And Charlie was also more middle ground, and I enjoy seeing Republicans that are not
Would you say
afraid
a reason why
to.
you think that Charlie Kirk is middle ground is because he was willing to have public discourse?
I would say that, well, that was one of the things I admired most about him, was that he was very excited to debate people and discuss and
3
let
days
people
ago.
speak.
By the way,
What?
I don't think that Charlie Kirk was middle ground.
3 days ago? I'm sorry.
We'll talk about that. Before, I want to go ahead and respond to that. I don't
Oh,
think
I'm
that
sorry.
Charlie-
I have bad service in my
No worries.
house. I didn't know if you cut out for a second. My bad.
I don't think that Kirk was middle ground at all. I think it's kind of crazy to think that. I mean, he said that the
I would say, like,
he said
based
that the
on
Civil
past
Rights Act.
Republicans.
He said that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. He said that Martin Luther King Jr. was a joke, and he said the people that tried to kidnap Nancy Pelosi then inevitably bashed Nancy Pelosi's head in with a wrench, almost killing him, were patriots, and that somebody should bail them out of jail.
Dean, you know, I've only known about you for like about a month or two, and I've seen the way you debate. You're very quick. You actually kind of remind me of a young Charlie in a way, the way you try to like grab on the little things and go for stuff. But no, I know the way it is with Charlie's debates. People like to grab snippets and clips and don't listen to the full thing or the context. I do think one mistake he made was that he would reference himself a lot in the past. He wouldn't fully explain on everything, so there were individuals who didn't know his current stances on things, and he would make a comment and they would take it poorly without knowing how he'd
Could I tell you one of his other
responded in the
stances
past.
that was like so extreme and not middle ground at all?
Sure, go for it.
He thinks that victims of rape should be denied access to abortion.
I mean, I believe that the child shouldn't be punished for the atrocities of his father.
So
I mean,
okay. I have a question.
I mean,
what obligation would the great victim have to sustain the life of the fetus and to provide it their bodily resources? The way that I look at things
Well,
is very simple,
I mean-
especially for great victims. There was no set of circumstances that they consented to. There's no set of circumstances in which they foresaw, meaning that there's no set of circumstances during pregnancy where they have any obligation to provide their bodily resources to keep that fetus alive.
Actually, I do have different abortion opinions than Charlie, but I do respect that he kept things closer to the Bible. I probably should have that same stance as a Christian, but in my opinion, where my more extremist views for abortion fall on me personally, of what I would do for myself in any of those situations, is I would deny abortion for myself for any circumstance. But that's just me personally and my morals. But
Listen,
for others, I find
I'd like
that
to clarify that it's not extreme to want to make that decision for yourself. That's actually the
No.
definition of the pro-choice view.
that's great. Well,
Right?
I mean, I think there's like
can
a
we
moderate
acknowledge that? Like
pro-choice
the
view.
definition of the pro-choice view is empowering women and girls to have the autonomy to make those decisions for themselves.
I agree with that, but I would just say that for others, where my decision for me to not have an abortion comes more from my Christianity and my religious views, I don't want to press that onto anybody. I don't think religious views should be pressed on anyone. I certainly wouldn't want it done to me if it was somebody from another religious perspective. So I would say, like, if I was able to set an abortion law, I would put with exemptions personally.
Well, then you definitely agree here, 110%, that what Charlie Kirk believed in was absolutely extreme. Because you're telling me, sure, you think that abortion is wrong, and you think you get that belief from your Christian faith, but you don't think you should be
Yes.
able to impose that onto others. Based pro-choice,
Oh,
10 out of 10.
No. Oh, I'm not saying I agree with Charlie on everything.
Right,
I think
but,
if there's
like-
ever a
but,
moment
like,
in your
that's
life
so
that you agree with
extreme.
somebody 100%,
But, like,
then
we
you're
could
not
listen, we
thinking
could
for yourself.
But we could just agree there that it's so extreme for him to like say that we should legally force and subjugate 9-year-old victims of rape to bodily mutilation and torture of pregnancy for 9 months with a high potentiality.
I
for
wouldn't
killing
say
them.
it's extreme. I would say it's further than I would personally take it and further than I would vote for it to go. but I wouldn't say it's extreme when, I mean, there are other countries where women are killed for, I mean, showing their hair, showing skin. I think that in the world of female autonomy and what we have a right to do, I would not put that in the realm of extreme personally, but I do think that that is more extreme than I would prefer to go.
So we do not calculate the extremism of an action or belief based upon a comparison to other actions or beliefs. We calculate the extremism of an action or belief based upon the outcome of the action or belief. Would you say
I do think that the best thing
would you
would
say that
be-
it is any more extreme to believe that black individuals are subhuman and should be owned as property by white individuals today than it was to believe that 250 years ago? Because under my view, I would say, regardless if you believe that today or 250 years ago, it was just as extreme then as it is now, even though in America today, significantly less people believe that than there was in America 250 years ago. What this tells us is that a comparison of a belief to others does not calculate its extremeness. The same way, a comparison of you telling me that, well, it's not extreme to say that the bodies of 9-year-old girls should be mutilated and tortured forcefully for 9 months because they were raped is not
Well, it's very
extreme,
rare for a
because
9-year-old to be
women are treated
pregnant.
incredibly terribly elsewhere in the world as well.
I do think it's a bit lacking in intelligence to go for the most rare instances, the most rare and disgusting instances, and base that on everything. Like, majority of abortions are women who are fully capable of having that child, and they're grown women, and they're using it more as a form of birth control, and that I severely disagree with. I do think that there are too many forms of birth control in this day and age for that to be an excusable action. In instances of incest and rape, personally, I think that that is up to the individual and what they wish to happen. And I would never want to force my personal beliefs on anyone, regardless
I
of
never said
instance.
that every instance of abortion is a 9-year-old that was raped. What I did say is that thinking the 9-year-olds who are raped should be able to maintain pregnancy, or any woman or girl who's raped should be forced legally to maintain pregnancy, is extreme. And you are now
Personally, I think that we should put way more action towards pedophiles and people who do those actions. I mean,
So then why do you
I
support
really,
one as president? You openly boasted about perving on the naked bodies of 5-year-old girls on Howard Stern
you know,
show.
they said Biden was a pedophile. A lot of people said that they were afraid to leave their children with Biden, but nobody ever mentions that. And there have been court cases against him for sexual assault.
If Donald Trump had openly boasted about perving on the naked bodies of teens and the naked bodies of women backstage unconsensually before Miss Teen USA shows and Miss USA shows while they're undressed in their dressing rooms, would you still support him
I
as
just
president?
really don't feel like that happened.
It didn't
but
happen. I'm just making a hypothetical.
I think in politics that it's just, I think most people in politics are bad people.
Well, then can you answer my question, please?
Personally.
You said that we need to be more extreme against P3DOs, sexual abusers, etc., so on and so forth. So if Donald Trump had openly boasted about perving on the naked bodies of teens and naked bodies of women unconsensually while they're getting undressed in private women-only spaces.
I've heard people say that that is something that happens. If that did happen, then I think that's disgusting.
If he did this, would you still support him as president?
If it was proven 100% that he did that, and that is not just slander, then I would feel less inclined to have him as president, but
would you
I would
still
have
support
him
him?
over Biden.
Oh, would it?
Over
Okay,
Biden.
That's crazy. You're nuts. What about over Kamala Harris, though?
Kamala just gave me the creeps. I feel like there was something off with that. I mean,
So you're telling me you'd take Trump if you knew that he was a fucking P3DO over Harris because she gave you the creeps? Are you being serious?
Oh, no. I mean, I think there's more to her. And I mean, her husband was a known woman beater.
Whoa,
So, I mean, what is she doing?
whoa. Do not even talk about harm towards women after you just told me that you would still support Trump if he was a P3DO, sexual abuser, exploiter of young girls.
I'm saying there's no proof that she hasn't done something like that too. I wish that before anybody could run
Shut
for
up.
president,
So you just told me
that we could have
that
more to
you
go
would-
over them.
so you
I
just
want
told me-
full background checks on all of these
So
people.
you just told
I
me-
want to know if they've committed any
Morgan.
crime. I want to know everyone in their realm, what crime that they have committed. But
Morgan,
that's just not the world we live in.
You just told me that you would need certain evidence that Trump has done this in order to believe it. But
Are you saying in this
dude,
scenario that there
stop
is that
talking.
evidence?
You said that you need
Excuse
certain.
me.
I said what I said. You said that you would need. I did. You said, oh yeah, I told you to stop talking. I did, and I'm unapologetic, and I'm very unapologetic about it. Anyways,
I
so
know, you're
you
never
said-
apologetic.
Well, I was earlier to another guest when I told them to stop talking, and I realized that I was more upset than I should have been in that circumstance. But quite frankly, I think I'm less upset than I should be in this circumstance because you just told me that you would still support Trump as president, even if it was proven to certainty
Because we don't know it's
if he
happened.
was a sexual abuser
Are you
of
saying
little naked
in this
girls.
scenario it is proven, or
Yes,
it is the scenario where
proven.
it's not proven?
In the scenario
You're
that it
not
is
making
proven,
that clear enough.
in
Okay,
the
so
scenario
you're
where it's
saying
proven, would you still support Trump as president?
you're saying like it's recorded him saying this, and he's saying this gladly, and there's no way to take it out of context that he is saying
Yeah.
something openly pervy.
Not just openly pervy, but admitting to sexual
Like
exploitation.
pedophilic.
Not
He's
just
saying
not
something
openly pervy,
pedophilic.
but admitting to the sexual exploitation of women and girls. And
He's admitting it.
Women and girls, yes.
Well, then, yeah, no, I wouldn't want him to be president.
You swear?
Yeah, no. Why would I want a pedophile as president?
So if he admitted to the sexual exploitation of women and or girls, you would no longer support him as president.
I mean, I think the exploitation of women, Biden falls under that category too.
We'll talk about
but
Biden in a bit.
pedophilia.
Listen, we'll talk about.
No,
We'll talk
pedophilia
about.
is never
Listen,
okay.
dude. Shut up. I muted you. I just want to clarify. Just to be clear, you would no longer support Trump as president if he openly boasted about walking in to the private dressing rooms of women and girls who were undressed to look at them unconsensually, which is sexual exploitation. I just want to be clear. In this circumstance, you would no longer support him as president. Correct or incorrect?
Wow, you actually muted me. That was funny to see the shush and then the pop up. If there was like not just somebody saying, "Oh, I heard him say this," but like he was filmed saying this, like there's undeniable proof that he did something pedophilic, no, I would not support him as president anymore.
Okay, so if everything I just said was true, you would no longer support him as president. Guess what? It is
Yes,
true
but
all
this
the time.
can't just be like a somebody said this.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later
The
on.
question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell me
I'll
what-
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
I mean, that's disappointing, but where did he say 12-year-old girls? I thought it was women. Still disappointing, but that's not pedophilic.
So he did this at Miss Teen USA and Miss USA. We've had the beauty pageant contestants at Miss
But
Teen
he
USA
said women.
specifically. Okay. Well, if it's about saying the word women, when Howard Stern said the word girls, he was talking about minors. Dunked. Let's go ahead and re-listen to where Howard Stern says girls.
Conflict a little bit later
The
on.
question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
Because
I would say that,
you hinged your argument on him saying women at the end. Well, guess what? At the beginning, Howard
it's
Stern
not an
said
argument.
girls, and then he
I'm
responded
saying
talking
that,
about girls. So all that I need is all that you need in order to be proven that he did this to underage teenage girls is the fact that Howard Stern said girls the same way you thought it was proven that he just did this to women because he said women.
Okay. Just let me explain this, though. I'm sorry. There was something outside. Okay. I think it's fine. Okay. I think that what it really is that I do think that he was very unfortunately somewhat of a womanizer I wouldn't even say somewhat. I think he was a womanizer in the past, and I really don't like that part of him. It really is an ugly side of him. Pedophilia is where I draw a line, absolutely. And I would say Howard Stern is the one who said girls. And I mean, I'm almost 30 and people still call me girl. So I wouldn't say that necessarily means teens.
The same way a lot of men will call 14-year-old girls women.
Ew, do they?
Oh, totally. Absolutely. There's always older, creepy men attempting to overtly adultize, coin that word, young women or young girls. That happens all the time, saying that they look mature, they act mature. Age is just, a social construct, and they're so mature for their age. That happens all the time, right? But this is also very hypocritical of you, because you hinged your argument that he only did this to adults based upon his use of the word woman. But as soon as we hear the word girl, and he's using the word girl, all of a sudden, instead of mirroring your argument, meaning that it proves he was doing it to minors, you are just now saying, well, sometimes people will refer to adults as girls. This is what a non-falsifiable theory is. You take all the data and you attempt to use it to reconfirm your bias. So when you hear the word woman, you don't assume maybe he's using the word woman to refer to minors, because woman is defined as, in your view at least, as an adult human female. But as soon as you hear the word girls, which would contradict that line of argumentation, because the way that we define girl, you define girl from your view, would be a adolescent human female, you all of a sudden say, well, colloquially, sometimes people use the word girl to refer to adult females, to confirm your bias. But the evidence that we need to know that he did this to people that were underage are the people that were underage that spoke out and admitted he did this to them. There was a 17-year-old that competed at Miss Teen USA that said he did exactly this to them, and that he also did this to other individuals that competed at Miss Teen USA that were 15. We had another beauty pageant contestant from Miss Teen USA that was a minor in the 90s. Her name is Victoria. She's, of course, an adult now. She comes up on the stream every couple of months when she's around, active on TikTok, sees that I'm live, and she'll tell you how Donald Trump did this to her when she was underage.
Hey, okay, I'm glad you unmuted me. I didn't realize because I wasn't looking at the screen, and I was agreeing with you at parts and trying to say stuff back, but what I'm trying to tell you is that my husband is going to be home in a few minutes and we have a date set up. So I won't be able to talk very long, but I would like to end this with, while I've experienced being sexualized at a young age and I found it terribly disgusting.
Everything that you just said was true, assuming every president that we've ever had run this country was just like Trump, raped a woman in the 90s, sexualized little kids, sexually exploited them too, was best friends with Epstein, went to the island, probably did bad shit with him too, assuming every single president we've ever had was just like that. Biden, Obama, Clinton, Bush, everyone, assuming everyone was just like that. We could have gotten away for it by voting for Kamala Harris in the election.
I mean, but Democrats didn't even want her to be president. I mean, I would have way rather had somebody like Tulsi Gabbard. If she'd run, I might have voted Democrat for the first time ever. But that's not the kind of
now
thing.
You're just explaining why you don't want to get away from that. Don't sit here and act like you care about harm towards women and girls and say that this is just a trait in all presidents ever, and unfortunately we can't get away from it, when I give you a really easy way to get away from it, which was to vote for Kamala Harris in the election. You say, well, but I actually wanted to stay with a trend. I wanted another rapist. I wanted another sexual abuser. I wanted another dude that was best friends with Epstein. Man. And I didn't want to get away from it because I would never support Kamala Harris in a million billion years.
You know you're putting words in my mouth. I mean, what she did at the border, I found that truly disgusting. And there were so many people that were hurt through that. That was inexcusable. And when I saw her doing that and then I found out she was running, no, so many women and children were hurt at that border. So many people have been killed because of that. And I can't get behind that in any way. I do think we should make it way easier to become a legal citizen in this country because we need more people in this country. but opening the border, that was truly terrible. If
How
you're
did she
talking
open the
about
border?
women and children being assaulted, she was the czar. She was the border czar, and she did nothing. People poured into this country.
What was her
People were
role as
hurt.
delegated by Biden to the border?
She was the czar, the border czar.
But like, what was her official role? What was her duty? What was the job description?
That was like her only job, being
What
vice
was
president.
the job description?
Are you asking me for like technical stuff? I mean,
Yeah, like,
because
what
I told
actually
you,
was she
I've
supposed
only
to
been
do as
into
it related to
politics for a
immigration?
short bit.
Okay, well, I'll tell you then. So, what her job actually was, as it related to immigration, was to work with southern Latin American countries to increase
All right,
the
but I will tell you, I
socioeconomic-
do have to go in 2 minutes. If you want to ask me one final question or something, but I would.
That's okay. I'll just move on now. You have a good one. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you're an American adult that supports Trump as president. We're going to get you loaded up here. Oh, man. If you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of all the proceeds donated over on those platforms. They go straight to me, as well as you could attach a message that I will read off on live. Oh my God, I'm just going to act like that last conversation didn't happen. That was brutal. Such as Kayla, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. Yeah, Kayla, I'm not going to read that out loud. I was also very confused about that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for the $20. Show some love to Kayla down below. I seriously really do appreciate that. Thank you, Kayla. As well as Octavia, thank you for the $25 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. Octavia, in her donation here, says, it gives me so much satisfaction when you dunk on women who willingly choose to forgive the exploitation of other women and girls. Keep that same level of anger every time towards every one man or woman. I do, Octavia. It pisses me off. It really pisses me off. I really appreciate you for the $25 in your kind message. Show some love to Octavia down below. And Talon with a $10 saying, free Gaza and eat the rich. Love you, brother. Appreciate you for the $10 over on Venmo, Talon, and free Palestine. And Talon with another $10 as well. Thank you so much for the love. Oh, and Talon with another $10 as well. That was a total of $30. $30 from Talon. 300 big W's for Talon down below in the chat. I really appreciate you. As well as Caleb, thank you for the 3. Emily with the 2. And let's see here over on PayPal. We're going to get that loaded up, but we're also going to start off the intro with a new guest. What is up? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Quite frankly, what year were you born in?
2005, January 26th.
You're a Fuentes fan?
Who said that?
You repost. you reposted some Fuentes, like a clip of the
How
debate.
does that mean I'm a
That was me.
fan? It was funny.
Well, I mean, like, if you see somebody and, like, they're reposting my content, you're going to assume that, like, oh, like, they're a fan of Dean.
Well, you should have seen what Parker said about him earlier today when I was debating.
What did Parker say about Nick Fuentes?
He insinuated that one of his fans did the ice attack. I don't know if we can talk about that, but
Talking about the Groypers? I mean, I believe it. Alt-right.
you believe they did the ice attack?
No, I'm saying if it came out that a Groyper did do that, I wouldn't be shocked.
No, he just said it. Do you agree with that?
I haven't researched it.
I mean, maybe you
Shouldn't
should.
be talking with my mouth full. So why do you support Trump?
I was on the other day. I said the economy last time, but we can move to immigration.
Oh, you're on the other day? Take care, man. We only talk to people once. Let's go to move on to the next guest. Hop in that queue of your MAGA. We'll get you loaded up here. We got PKG loaded in. As well as there's a handful of people I like to thank for their love on PayPal. Morgan, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal, saying, as a fellow Morgan, I apologize, and we do not claim her. I appreciate you for the $10. And then, Chloe, oh my God, thank you for the $40 donation over on PayPal. That is so fucking kind of you. Thank you, Chloe. Chloe with a 40 big one says, I love your videos so much. Keep up the good work, and I hope you're feeling okay. You know what? I am feeling okay today. I'm feeling good, Chloe, Thank you for the $40. That is seriously so fucking kind of you. Show some love to Chloe down below in that comment section. Thank you for the love. As well as Brayley with the $10 as well. Thank you so much. Saren, I think that's how I pronounce her name. Saren, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Saying just wanted to show you some love. Thank you so much, Saren. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Saren. As well as Amy with the $5 and Sam with the $7. If you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok or in that pin message over on YouTube. Welcome. And do you support Trump?
Yes.
How old are you?
35.
Why the hell do you support the worst president of your 35 years of life? Mr. Dipey Don infringe on the 1st, 2nd, 14th, and 22nd Amendment and want to play all-powerful authoritarian leader.
I mean, I support Trump, but I also support you. I mean, I think it's kind of, it goes a long way that what you do on here, and I think you don't get enough appreciation.
Cool, I appreciate that, man. Hopefully I can change your mind.
And you don't give up. So I just wanted to tell you that.
That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. I hope this open-mindedness of what we do here, and even a little bit of appreciation, may indicate they'd be more likely to hear me out for what I have to say.
Yeah, I like listening. So.
Okay, so why do you support Trump?
I support Trump. Based on a couple morals that I believe in. I mean, not a lot of people believe in what he stands for, but he fights hard. He fights hard for Americans, and I think it's everybody's gonna have something to disagree about or say this or that about him. But I think some of the things that he's trying to do are good, and some of the things I don't necessarily agree with. Especially with like the big beautiful bill. It's going to cost people more money and health insurance. But when it comes to military too, I support Trump on that. I think he's doing a great job with the military and how he represents them.
I completely disagree. So, at both of Donald Trump's inaugurations, he took an oath to uphold the Constitution. And at MEPS, for every single person in the military, they took an oath to uphold the Constitution too. I think it is so disrespectful for Donald Trump to say he wants to overthrow the rules, regulations, and articles, even those written in the Constitution in December of 2022, and then to belligerently infringe upon the Constitution like 8 times in the last 8 months. I think that is so disrespectful to every single veteran that lost their life fighting for this country and fighting for the liberties offered the Constitution, including my great uncle, who was one of the 500 MIA in Nam, and so disrespectful to every single person actively serving in the military that would be willing to lose their lives to defend that document that he is now disrespecting, violating, and infringing on.
Why aren't they proving these things in court? Why aren't they trying to impeach him? I guess I don't understand why they're
not trying to impeach him because Congress doesn't have a fucking spine. We agree there. But more so because it's a GOP majority.
So what are things to do that can change? I just don't see anybody ever coming together at all. Period. It doesn't matter what your left side or right side. It's there, and unfortunately, people see things a lot different than other people. So I don't.
I bet we could hit a nasty kumbaya over voting for some Dems in the midterms to finally impeach him. Sound good to you? We could come together over that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's necessary, then do it, of course. But I guess I don't understand why it's taken this long. I mean, if something was really going to go through with these courts and say, hey, he violated the Constitution and this and that, he wouldn't be president, correct?
No, incorrect. Yeah, we had courts determine that he violated the Constitution with Executive Order number 14160 that he signed until his first day in office that attempted to illegally and unconstitutionally take birthright citizenship away from the children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil. But it didn't really lead to much.
Yeah, I didn't really read much into that birthright citizenship, unfortunately. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit.
Can I actually have you elaborate on something?
No, I was just asking you about your opinion. I don't really know much about the birthright citizenship. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I'll go over that. I just genuinely have a question. Everyone was spamming my chat about a 17th repost, and I found it. I don't understand it at all. It says Mexican word of the day, nacho. Happy Cinco de Mayo, nacho president. And then it is Kamala Harris. I don't even get it. What is that? What does it even mean? Oh, nacho president. Oh, that's not funny.
Yeah, I don't think it's funny.
No, that's stupid. That's stupid. That is dude, I feel like if I were to go onto Facebook right now and find like MAGA groups and whatnot, I feel like that would just be in like all of them. I could like, for instance, I think I like have like some like 60, 70-year-old family members, like super pro-Trump somewhere. I don't know. I bet if I went to their Facebooks, I'd probably find that posted like late November. That's just such a juvenile. Oh God. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't want to waste any.
Continue. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I just wanted to say those things and, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, even though we don't see eye to eye, I do see that you have a heart. So,
well, are you interested in continuing to talk about that birthright citizenship, or you just want to kind of end the conversation there?
Oh, I didn't know if you had other people that were in line, but sure, I'd like to hear it a little bit.
Well, sure. I'll expand upon my thoughts there. Then I'll probably move on. So, yeah, executive. Well, sorry, I'm going to restart. Amendment 14 of the Constitution, particularly Section 1, gives you birthright citizenship if you're born on American soil, right? And correct. That's what the amendment says. That's what the section says. Donald Trump, first day in office, tried to take that right away from the children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil, saying that they're not citizens. They don't have a right to birthright citizenship, even though the Constitution says they do. And the Constitution has always said that. And we've already litigated on if immigrants have a right to the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. We've already litigated in SCOTUS if undocumented immigrants are protected by the 14th, in which they said yes, meaning that this was just a blatant attempt to infringe upon constitutional rights of those in which have them by Trump.
Interesting. I think I'll have to read more on it just to kind of understand more of the in depth of what the reasonings are and what it says. I think I should read on it. So
okay, all right. Well, yeah, I guess I'm gonna move on to the next guest. You have a good one.
Yeah. You too. See you, Dean.
Yeah. See ya. For everyone in here, I've been on for 4 hours. It might be time. It might be time to get off. Scarlett, thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat. I appreciate you for the love. Scarlett, I think that you should be able to watch back through the VOD. I will try to find the time. I don't know if I will be able to, but I appreciate you for the love, Scarlett. As well as Amy with a $10 saying, what degree in college would you recommend for somebody wanting to get into government for being the best informed? Also, love you. Listening to you has helped me learn more about your country, our country and Democrats. Amy, I'd say it depends. There's many pathways, and it depends on your interests. So you could become like super informed on like government by being a lawyer, maybe getting an undergrad in philosophy, then going to law school. You could also become informed by getting just like a 4 years bachelor's in poli-sci. There's like a bunch of different ways you could get informed. Politics is just so vast. But government specifically, probably something related to political science. Everyone in the chat saying one more. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do one more debate. Let's do it. Go ahead and hop in that queue. If you're MAGA, we're going to get you lit up here. And Angelina, thank you so much for the $50 donation over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Angelina. That is very kind of you. Angelina didn't leave a message with her $50 donation, just the love. Just know that I really fucking appreciate you. Thank you so much, Angelina. You are the best. Thank you for the $50.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Angelina. You are the best.
I don't like hearing myself. What's up, Travis? You support Trump?
Dean, I do support Trump.
Terrible, Travis, but let's talk about it. Before we do, two more people to thank. Mallory, thank you so much for the $30 donation on PayPal. Thank you, Mallory. Mallory just says hope. I really appreciate you. I'm happy that the streams give you some positivity. Thank you for the $20, Mallory. And then Valerie, thank you for the $30. Valerie with the $30, thank you for your kindness. As 52-year-old here, I love watching you try to get sense out of the nonsensical. Keep it up. Thank you, Valerie. Show some love to Angelina for the 50, Mallory for the 20, and Valerie for the 30. That is so kind of you guys, seriously. As well as, let's see what else. Mary, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, saying happy Thursday, Dean. Love you. Love you too, Mary. Good to see you. Talon, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Talon. Show some love to Talon. Talon with a 50 bomb says, I'm tired of quote unquote watching from a safe distance in Alaska. I'm moving to Chicago to be a part of the resistance. So when my kids ask, I can say I stood up for what mattered. Talon, holy fuck, you're a patriot. I'd like literally, dude, this motherfucker's a patriot. Show some love to Patriot Talon in that chat. As well as Baby Blanche with the $30, saying, thank you for everything that you do. You give me more hope for humanity. Please never stop speaking the truth. I will never stop what we're doing. I love it too much. Thank you for the $30, Blanche. As well as Jordan with the $15. Thank you, Jordan. Michael with the $10. Thank you so much. And hopefully I'll be able to change your mind, Michael. As well as, I'm just going to call you T. Thank you for the $10 over in Venmo. Once again, just saying, keep doing what you're doing. I'll never stop. Thank you, T. And then Lauren with the $20 on Venmo saying that your knowledge of politics is incredible to witness. Thank you for using your gift to educate us. Thank you so much for the love, Laura. That is very kind of you. It honestly just kind of boils down to like a photographic memory. I used this gift in high school to like study for like finals the night before, which wasn't too productive. So I'm happy that I'm using it in a better way now. Thank you for the love. As well as Sid with the $15 saying, good to see you. Hope you're doing okay. I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Sid? I feel like it's been forever. And then G with the $2. Thank you so much. Go ahead and take it away. Why do you support Trump? Travis.
God, Dean, I was gonna thank some of your donators for you with Mallory and Valerie, but there was so many other ones I just lost track and I couldn't keep track. So I guess first, before we start, I'm hoping that we can have a civil conversation because I hate how polarized things are. So I won't interrupt you, and I'm hoping you won't interrupt me. Do you think this is your show? So I'm not going to tell you how things are, but I'm hoping we can do something like that.
Yeah, as long as like we're staying productive and trying to stay on point. Yeah, you got it. And just at the end of the stream, you're going to be my last debate of the day, and I kind of want to keep it to like 25 minutes or so, which means you have to be like pretty productive and succinct and on topic with our statements. But if you could do that,
I won't take that much by yeah, perfect. That works for me. Okay, so I'll say the reason I would say I support Donald Trump mostly has to do with his kind of philosophy on American life and how, I feel like best way to describe it is the left seems like things need to be giving versus the right is, you need to earn. And I feel like the biggest thing with that is people feel like they have the right, like to demand money from the government or think about like welfare. Like my sister has to be on medications to basically save her life, right? But because so many people have exploited the system, she can't utilize the tools that the government gives her because she can only make so much money before the government won't support her. So I think I am not gung ho. I'm gonna fact check you here.
If the left's ideology was like truly like not earning, just give, well, I think that this would imply that what we do give through maybe like social safety nets, for instance, food stamps, Medicaid, so on and so forth, we would expect those that are on these social safety nets to receive those benefits. They're getting. But once they use these benefits as a launch pad to be a more economically productive citizen, and they use these benefits as a launch pad to get back in the workforce and make more money and scale and grow their income, since we know these social safety nets give more economic mobility for those that are on them, and they stay on them for an average of 12 months or less, then we would expect those that leave these benefits after making more money to then not want to pay taxes to fund those benefits for others like them. But I don't think we see that. I think, if anything, those that have been reliant on social safety nets, that use them as a launch pad to make them and their family better off, that ultimately then 5 or 10 years later are making well above that of the average American, turn around and they say, I support the hell out of the social safety nets. I think we need to fund those, and I'm willing to give my income through taxes to pay for those social safety nets, which is now an altruistic stance of wanting to help others where they were once at, which completely contradicts the notion of just wanting to receive and instead of wanting to earn. And on a different note here, I'd also like to say this. I think that you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what the left is about, at least in my mind. I don't think the left is about making it so individuals are given everything that they need and think that they need, everything that they want rather, in every scenario whatsoever. But it's more so about making sure that individuals are on the same footing in order to earn what they want. And that's a big difference, Like, I'm going to see more resistance if I'm running a race barefoot compared to somebody that's running a race with, running shoes on. And what the left would say there is, well, you should have running shoes too, so you could be on an equal foot as everybody else in the race. So you could go out, engage in the market, and earn with the same amount of resistance as everyone else. Not, well, let's just give you free running shoes because you deserve this for no reason at all, just because you want to get.
Very valid points. So then that leads me to a subject of that, talking about kind of equality in the sense, DE and I, right? Which obviously is a big topic for certain people. Why should someone be given something that another person isn't given just because of the color of their skin, or their sexual preference or things like that, you know?
Well, I don't think that this is a full understanding of what DEIA is. That's not what DEI is. But I'll still answer the question as long as I'm making it clear that that's not how it works and that's not what DEI is. But I still think that there's many scenarios where it makes total sense to say that individuals might for instance, like particular forms of reparations for Black Americans. Like we would say that policy that disproportionately helps Black Americans more than it helps, for instance, white Americans would actually be a good thing that would be just in certain circumstances. Not because of the color of their skin on its own, but rather because of how individuals with the same color of skin, and including themselves, have been disproportionately disadvantaged throughout American history until now. You know, like a good example of this would be the average funding for a white student in the education system in America today is almost twice as high as the average funding for a Black student in the education system in America today. So if we had a good president come along and they were like, well, educational outcomes are highly correlative to life outcomes, life expectancy, overall happiness, availability to opportunity, maximization of and utility of resources, well, then we would want to ensure that educational outcomes are equally funded for everyone, regardless of your background or in this sense, race. So now we're going to pass policy in which disproportionately is designed to help Black students compared to white students because of that disproportionate disadvantage that existed in the first place. And maybe that's a scenario that would justify helping Black Americans more than white Americans. That makes sense.
I like your points. I think the only pushback I really have on that is, you know, if you see, I want to say this, but I'm nervous to say it because, again, I'm not looking to get hate by people thinking that I'm racist because of it, and I'm not racist. I'm the furthest from it.
Usually a bad starter.
Well, hey, I'm the type, I have to defend myself, and I feel like your chat's going to jump down my throat on this, but I promise you, it's just, all I'm doing is voicing my thoughts behind it is, why would someone get think about it like this, as a white male, right? I don't have nearly as many options for scholarships as let's say a Black female, or as a Native American female, or even just as a female in general. There are more scholarships available simply for being a minority versus being, I guess, not a minority.
Okay, point number one, I don't even know if this is true, right? So if you want to show that to me, that'd be great. But point number two, if this is true, isn't this exactly what we were just discussing that you said makes sense? About how, like, it is the case that members of marginalized communities are disproportionately underfunded in American education, which produces worse outcomes in the long term. And now you're describing, which is apparently a system of disproportionate funding of members of marginalized communities to make their education outcomes better off on average and equal at the end of the day. Like, I don't know, this you said conceptually the idea of disproportionately allotting funding to members of marginalized communities in the American educational system was a good idea when we were talking about it theoretically, but now that we're talking about an apparent pragmatic instance of this actually occurring, all of a sudden it's a bad idea that you think is racist to you as a white guy. But like I said, I'm not even convinced that this works. That is the
that's
case.
fair. Sure. Side note real quick, I don't know if it's just my screen. Is your screen like flickering black, or is your camera flickering black? Is it my phone or something?
It's just going to be an issue for you.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. let's see. If I'm willing to change topics if you are, not saying that you want or I want or anything like that. I've very much, so far have been happy with that.
Well,
you want to finish something?
Let's stay on the same topic. We're going to like slightly switch it though, because I mean, it sounds like earlier this whole time you've been talking about how you just don't think that individuals should be given like opportunity or a position, a role, a job, etc., so on and so forth, a role, etc., because of like their race, right?
I think people shouldn't be given like special treatment. Yes, I would just because of that.
Okay. Do you think that individuals should be given like special treatment or like rules because of their gender?
Rules because of their gender? In what way?
Oh, and like in any
what
way.
kind of example?
Like special treatment because of your gender. Like, I mean, you didn't ask for like a specific example about race. You said, oh, people shouldn't be given special treatment because of their race, regardless of the context. Or do you think that individuals should be given special treatment because of their gender, regardless of the context?
If we're talking about like a transgender type thing, or are you talking more so like male, just male?
I'm just because of their gender. Because you're a man, because you're a woman, for instance. We're just talking about how there's scholarships for women. They shouldn't be given special treatment because they're women. They shouldn't be given special treatment because of their gender. Is that something that you disagree with?
No, I don't necessarily disagree with just because you're a woman. I think it has to do with if this was a, let's say, really good example.
Well,
let's say your parents or your family.
You said that individuals shouldn't receive special treatment because of their race. All I'm asking is if you would accept the reflected claim, people shouldn't be able to get special treatment because of their gender.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay, phenomenal. Isn't that traditionalism? Traditionalism tells us that men should get special treatment. They should be the leaders. They should be the business owners. They should be the entrepreneurs. They should be the ones in charge. They should be the ones leading their family. Meanwhile, the women should be subjugated to the role of not being in STEM fields, not being in the workforce. They should stay at home, cook, clean, and raise the kids. Like, honestly, the only time I see legitimate application of this conception of DEI giving special treatment because of an immutable characteristic of your being is literally traditionalism. And it is those traditional values that conservatives seek to conserve and defend, right?
Okay. I wouldn't say I agree with those though. Like I am all for my view, if we were to I'm very much an example person, so I apologize if it gets annoying like that, but good example, like salaries, right? If a woman is, let's say, just say a woman is a truck driver and can drive just as miles as me, yeah, she should get paid just as much as me, if not more, 100%.
Congratulations,
right?
you're a feminist.
Well, I would say I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and I'm being fair because I think there is a such thing.
You just defended feminism by calling it realism.
I'll take that. But I don't necessarily believe that just because you are a woman, that doesn't mean that you should be able to have more opportunities than a man. And I'm not saying that's the case right now. I'm just saying, you're bringing up sexuality. I don't think that should be the case. Same thing. There shouldn't be a process that says, oh, well, we need more transgender women or transgender men or transgender anything in our job roles. So we are looking to expand, basically like a DEI hire.
Are you saying that you support Trump because Donald Trump has stopped this?
No, not at all. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Wait, I thought that you were giving me an argument on why you support Trump. But like, just so you know, I don't think companies do that.
I don't think they do it directly.
Okay, right. So the topic is why do you support Trump? And I guess like you just told me this isn't an argument for why you do. I just don't have much time left. So why do you support Trump?
Okay, let's go with his border policies.
Which ones?
The left always likes to say that, he separated families from...
No, the left says, I'm just like curious, like what Trump border policies do you like?
I couldn't list off a specific, number, but it's the fact that when... let's say illegals cross the illegal, I'm going to say immigrants, illegal, not legal or not asylum seekers, but illegal immigrants crossing the border and then at that point being detained and then eventually being, extradited out to the countries.
So you're saying that you support mass deportation?
I didn't say mass deportation. I say
but that's Donald Trump's like immigration policy that you seem to be referring to. Because remember, I'm asking you, like, what is Trump doing that you like? And like, I asked you to name a policy. You said I can't name a policy, but like, I like the idea of like undocumented immigrants getting deported. So that would mean that you support Donald Trump's mass deportation policy?
I like the overall idea of keeping borders secure and keeping the people that want to come in legally they're more than happy to have them come in, but people who come here illegally and not following the process, they shouldn't be doing that. That's I guess the best way I
Okay,
could describe it.
so then what is Donald Trump doing that you support? Because you said I didn't say mass deportation. So if it's not his deportations that you support, then what is he doing that you support?
I'm gonna say, I mean, it would. I guess we'll go with deportation. We'll go with deportation.
Okay, why would you support something that only hurts this country? Can you name like a single like positive outcome of mass deportation on this country?
I would say people coming here illegally to begin with, for one, right? Like, why would you want someone that didn't follow the process to come to the country to be here, right? There are people who want to.
Remember, I asked you a specific question, and that was a deflection away from the question because now you're asking me a new specific question. The specific question that I asked you that I'd like you to respond to is, what is one positive outcome of mass deportation on this country?
The positive. Okay, let's go with tracking people who actually keeping track of the people who come here.
Okay, so like just knowing who's in our country.
Yeah, I would say for like national security, knowing who's in the country, and there's some sort of tracking behind it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, we'd actually be able to easier and I don't know what's a right way to grammatically structure the sentence. We would be able to achieve that goal easier and faster. There you go. If we were to offer undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship, because obviously, if they accept this pathway to residency or citizenship, which they will, because it will allow them to have a higher quality of life, that was their incentive for immigration in the first place, well, then we'd know who they are and they'd be identified for purposes of national security. Do you think that we would be able to get undocumented immigrants to accept a pathway to residency or citizenship, or get them to accept being literally deported? Because to me, what it sounds like is it would be harder and more strenuous, more expensive, and take longer to attempt to identify every single person in this country by removing those that we can't identify by deporting them, as that is something that undocumented immigrants would not want and will not comply with, compared to something such as mass amnesty to identify everybody in the country, as that is something that undocumented immigrants would want and would comply with. So mass amnesty would be able to identify every person in the country for purposes of national security faster, for a lower cost, and easier than mass deportation.
I think you would have a hard time. I think, in general, I think anyone would have a hard time doing that regardless, just because of, and I'm going to say the government, not regardless of one side or the other, not trusting the government, right? Like if you, Dean, in your history of life, if you had ever smoked pot, right, no matter where you were, whether it was legal or not, right, because it's illegal federal.
Travis caught a stray. Unfortunate, Travis. Sorry, Trav. You can't say that on TikTok Live, so I had to kick you. Sorry, bro. Travis, if you come back tomorrow, I'll bring you back up and we can finish that discussion. You just can't say the names of any DRUGS on TikTok Live. I'm sorry, bro. You did catch a stray. You didn't deserve that one, bro. Rachel, thank you so much for the $50 donation over on Venmo. I appreciate you for that love, Rachel. Show some love to Rachel down below in the comment section. Thank you so much. Rachel, the 50 big ones, says this is just a fraction of the good energy you deserve for all of the time, energy, and logic you so generously share with all of us. I listen while I work and you keep me sane. Rachel, that's fucking awesome. I'm happy that you like the streams and that they help you out. That is all I want. Thank you so much, Rachel, for the $50, as well as Mary with the $50 as well. Rachel and Mary, show some love to them in the chat. Mary with the $50 says thank you. Thank you for the $50. Thank you so much. Shout out to Rachel and Mary. And then Sarah with the $30 on Venmo. Sarah says, funding my president. You're funny. You're funny. I remember you, Sarah. You're the socialist. That's all right. I do remember you. I'm really good at remembering shit like that. Thank you so much for the $30, Sarah. As well as Lexi with the $10. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate everyone so much. You guys are so fucking kind. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you. As well as Courtney with the $3 over on PayPal. And Naomi with a $20 over on Super Chat. Naomi says, I have an in-law who's racist and exposed her true colors over time. Any advice on how to move around her, Dean, besides to keep my distance? And sadly, my brother won't correct her. Huh. I think it is very dependent on what your interactions with this person are, where do you live, and the overall family dynamic. And Naomi added on there saying that she even threatened me once. Naomi, I would say the easiest path of action for you would be to not associate with her and like set the boundary like, at family get-togethers, if like she's there, you won't be there, but make that clear to your family and make it clear why too, because she's racist and has threatened you. If you have a good family, they will say she can't come so you can, and hopefully that's what would happen. As well as I'd put pressure on those that have made her an in-law to try to fix that, because that's crazy. But I'm so sorry that you're going through that, Naomi. I really am. As well as Josh with the $10 saying, going to my first No Kings in October. All of you who are going, stay safe. Love you, Dean, from your neighbor and in M. Thank you for the $10. And yeah, actually, that's a good way to close out the stream, guys. October 14th, I think. I don't know. No Kings Day 2.0. You can look it up online and find your local protest location. Please go. Please go. I want everyone to go to that. I'm going to be at mine. But now for everyone watching, unfortunately, the time has come to end. I have a family get together. My nephew's 8th birthday is today, and we are going to be celebrating that at a little family event. And by the way, just to verbally correct myself, it is not on the 14th. It is on the 18th. October 18th, No Kings Day 2.0. If you just heard me say October 14th, ignore that, redact it. It is the 18th. And then one last donation here before I do head off. Raven, thank you for the $20 saying, keep going, Dean. Tonight showed the impact you're making. Even one person seeing the truth makes it all worth it. I agree. And honestly think, I think it's a lot more than one. I think it's thousands of individuals who are silent about it, you know? But I'm going to get off now. I had a really good stream today. I appreciate everyone for showing up. It is crazy because these streams, by the end, I'm usually in a better mood. And I have you guys to thank for that. But I hope you all have a good rest of your evening. I will see you tomorrow. Peace and love, guys. Bye-bye.
Mankind's wickedness, use the